Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime. At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Kellen Moore era has officially begun in New Orleans. 2 days after winning a Super Bowl as Eagles offensive coordinator, Moore's been hired as the new head coach of the Saints. He had a great deal of success as a play caller in his one season in Philadelphia. Now looks to turn around a New Orleans offense that ranked in the bottom half of the NFL in 2024 and enters 2025 with soon-to-be 34-year-old quarterback Derek Carr and the 9th overall pick in the upcoming draft. ESPN NFL analyst Andrew Hawkins.
Patience is the key, because when you looked at even him being considered for this job, the vacancy was open so long that it felt like the Saints were kind of backing into it. But he's earned it, absolutely. He's the offensive coordinator for the Super Bowl winning team, and the job that he's done with Philadelphia should be applauded. To your point, he's got a lot more questions than answers, but I do think the Saints fans should be excited.
NBA, the newly acquired Brandon Ingram and the Raptors agreed to a 3-year, $120 million extension, reports ESPN's Shams Charania and Bobby Marks keeps him out of free agency this summer. The Dodgers and lefty Clayton Kershaw agreed on a new contract, bringing him back for an 18th season in Los Angeles.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Wednesday, the great Mel Kiper Jr. joins us at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and I'll ask him if there's a quarterback in the draft this year that could have the same impact as Jalen Hurts. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Go!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We got a lot to do. Shea Dixon in 15 minutes from right now. David Helman next hour. Ryan Clark next hour. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, it is now officially official. Kellen Moore, officially the 19th head coach in New Orleans Saints history. A horribly kept secret over the past 2 weeks. Saints, as we know, trying to do everything by the books, but everyone knew this was ultimately the end game, barring, as it was said many times, some unforeseen roadblock. But here we are, Tuesday afternoon, after reports all morning that it had been done. The New Orleans Saints issued the press release, and Kellen Moore is the new head coach of the New Orleans Saints. We'll start with a reaction to the hire, why I like it, why I don't, what's most important moving forward, all that good stuff. First and foremost, how should we feel about this hire? And not as good as Detroit. I mean, the belle of the ball was Ben Johnson. He was the guy everybody wanted. And he's in Chicago. Left Detroit for Chicago. How do we feel? Not as good as the Jets. The guy you really wanted was Aaron Glenn. He picked the Jets instead of you. You wanted Joe Brady. He decided to stay in Buffalo. You wanted to talk to Cliff Kingsbury. He decided to stay in Washington. So you got far down your list, but it doesn't mean you can't find a winner. It doesn't mean you can't hit on the hire just because it wasn't your first choice. And the Eagles' playoff run does give Kellen Moore a really significant boost, doesn't it? I mean, we were not talking about Kellen Moore at all before Championship Sunday. As a matter of fact, I remember looking at those odds when Joe Brady announced he was staying in Buffalo. There were 7 candidates left on the list, and we were talking about Joe Brady and Mike McCarthy. Anthony Weaver had interviewed. We were talking about Mike Kafka. Kellen Moore was 6th out of the 7 on the list as far as odds. And then they went and hung 55 on the Commanders in the NFC Championship game. Boom. Stock skyrockets. Saints interview him the next day. That's the path they're heading. The last 2 weeks have been a whirlwind. They hang 40 on the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden you feel much better. And you look at Philly this year, 8th in the NFL in total offense, 7th in the NFL in scoring offense, 2nd in the NFL in rushing offense, 29th in passing offense. And that's a passing offense that had A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. You were 29th in the NFL in passing offense. Only 3 teams were worse at throwing the football with all those weapons. Now, a big part of that is because you had a 2,000-yard rusher. But the Eagles this year won with defense and running the football. And I got news for you, Coach. Saquon Barkley ain't coming to New Orleans with Kellen Moore. So they're going to have to do it differently in New Orleans than they did this year in Philadelphia. But I'll tell you there's reasons why I like the hire. From the moment the New Orleans Saints fired Dennis Allen, I sat here and said, my choice is a young, offensive-minded head coach. The NFL is a copycat league. Look at the trends. Go find a young, offensive-minded coach. My preference was off the McVay-Shanahan tree. You didn't get that exactly, but you still got a guy at 36 years old who's the youngest head coach in the NFL now, who, of course, is offensive-minded. Was a great college quarterback at Boise State. We know he won 50. He was 50-3 during his time as the quarterback at Boise State. Came into the NFL, played parts of 7 seasons in the NFL, went right into coaching. Cowboys, Chargers, Eagles, and now the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. You look at the best coaches in the league, Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Nick Sirianni, who just won a Super Bowl. Guys like Matt LaFleur, Jim Harbaugh, offensive-minded coaches. There are exceptions, Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, Dan Campbell. There's good coaches that aren't offensive-minded coaches, but you can see the trend where the NFL is going. And it's also interesting because he's been an offensive coordinator now at 3 different stops: Dallas, the Chargers, and the Eagles. He had Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts. 3 very different quarterbacks in their skill sets, in their experience, in their styles, and they managed to get going with each of them. Now, there is also legitimate reason to question this. There's obviously the lack of experience. Came into the NFL very young and has rapidly ascended. But, as I just mentioned, we've seen young coaches have great success. During his time in Dallas, they were successful statistically. 4 seasons as the offensive coordinator. He was the play caller, by the way. It was not McCarthy. Moore was the play caller. In 2019, they were 6th in total offense. Then they went to 17th. Then 1st. They led the NFL in total offense in 2021. And then in 2022, they were 3rd. So the lowest he finished was 17th. The other years were 1st, 3rd, and 6th. But last year, again, that was Mike McCarthy's offense, veteran quarterback in Dak. Goes to the Chargers for 1 season. They're 21st in the NFL in total offense. That's with Justin Herbert. Boom, they're fired, and then he's off to Philly. Emmitt Smith over the past 3 years has been pretty vocal, Cowboys legend, about his lack of confidence or criticism, I should say, in Kellen Moore. Play number 2, please. This was just a smidge of Emmitt Smith. I believe this was an interview with USA Today. Give a listen.
See, in our past, under Kellen, I think we was just calling damn plays just to be calling plays. I don't think we was building upon anything. There was nothing that established this that made sense to play off of that and then go to here and here. It was just play calling, and every now and then we're going to throw in a little trick play, and the trick play will work sometime, then and sometime it won't. It'd be a wasted play and all that kind of stuff. Losing momentum, gaining momentum, it was just too much.
That's Emmitt Smith. That ain't me saying it. That's Emmitt Smith saying it. You're going to hear the counter to that as well. And clearly, they're pretty good offensively this year in Philadelphia. But ultimately, the sample size will grow, and we'll make that determination about his success or failures. But for Kellen Moore, there's 2 really important decisions from jump he's got to make. Number 1 is his defensive coordinator. Because we have just seen this not only in New Orleans, but across the NFL. If you're a head coach that specializes on one side of the ball, you got to nail it on the other side of the ball. Look at Dennis Allen. He retains Pete Carmichael. The defense in New Orleans under Allen, the first year, was still good. The offense was not. We can talk about injuries, but the reality is what it is. Your record, you are what your record says you are. Go back to Sean Payton. When Sean Payton was rolling offensively, great. What did it look like when Steve Spagnuolo and Rob Ryan were the defensive coordinators? You were a sub-500 team with Sean Payton and Drew Brees. You got to nail the other side of the ball. A lot of the scuttlebutt is that Brandon Staley, who was the head coach with the Chargers, who hired Moore in Los Angeles, could be the front runner for that job. We'll see, but you got to nail that hire. The other is, what do you do with Derek Carr? Do the Saints get Kellen Moore, and in so doing promising him that Derek Carr will be back so you have a better chance of success in year 1? Or do they promise patience, saying, look, we're going to move on from Derek Carr, but we're going to give you patience to build this thing the right way with the guy you want under center? I don't know the answer to that. We'll learn in time. But those are the 2 biggest questions Kellen Moore's got to answer first. Who's your DC, and what are you going to do with Derek Carr? You get those answers, we'll have a much better idea of what New Orleans is going to be. But the bottom line is, it does not matter. It does not matter how good of a coach Kellen Moore is, or anybody, if you don't have roster and culture. Look at New England. Bill Belichick is the greatest coach in the history of football. The man won 6 Super Bowls as a head coach. When Tom Brady left, they went 7-9, 10-7, 8-9, 4-13. He's fired. You can literally be the greatest coach of all time, but when you don't have players and culture, you cannot win. So, will Mickey Loomis get out of the way and get this roster younger and more talented? That's the question. Bigger than anything else. Because I don't care if it's Kellen Moore, Bill Belichick, or anybody in between. If this roster doesn't get younger and more talented, nobody can win. Because right now, all you have is a bunch of bad debt from years of buying on credit. You have spent years swiping that credit card, kicking the bill down the road, and all you got to show for it is a bunch of veteran players with no rings that are past their prime that cost you way too much. So what's it going to be, Mick? Are you actually going to give your young head coach a chance, or are you going to allow that mountain of debt to hang around his neck like an albatross destined to drag him to the bottom of the ocean? We'll find out in short order. Kellen Moore, new head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Tons of reaction to get to. David Helman covered Kellen Moore for those 4 years in Dallas. He'll be with us in 45 minutes from right now. Happy to have RC with us next hour as well, promoting a great event tomorrow over at the Maravich Center for Mental Health, which we'll talk about, but I'll get RC's thoughts on the Kellen Moore hire as well. Ton to do. Shea Dixon next. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Duplessis Builders, duplessisbuilders.net, duplessisbuilders.net. Hey, y'all, make sure if you're thinking of building a pool, outdoor kitchen, my goodness, on a day like this when it's a little warm but it's rainy and kind of nasty, thinking of those amazing spring and summer days when the sun is shining, the sky is clear, and you can dive into your own custom pool just steps from your backyard, that dream can become a reality. Let Duplessis Builders make it so. Y'all don't wait. This is the thing that I implore you to do. Look, you can always go to the website. Top of the page, you got our book. That's the free guide they give you to what that process is going to be like if you want to build a pool. But ultimately, remember this. At Duplessis Builders, they will never cut a corner. Derek uses his engineering background to make sure you get the highest quality product, which is why they give you a 10-year workmanship warranty. So if you want to be swimming come spring, you need to call now. DuplessisBuilders.net.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Carnival season around the bend. You're going to be at parades. See all that power of a deer pulling those floats. Giant part of Carnival, giant part of every day of our life. Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana, proudly bringing you Tuesdays AFR all throughout the year. And every Tuesday, we visit with Shea Dixon from On 3, the Bengal Tiger. Shady, how are you, man?
I'm doing well, Matt. How are you? I feel like we haven't talked in forever.
Well, we did talk last week whenever I was at Media Row. Yeah. So, you were gone the week before, but then last week we caught up, just not in our regular slot. So it's not been that long, but I guess it's not that memorable for you. Sorry.
No, I guess maybe time just moving slow. It has nothing to do with you. Let's make it. Here we are every Tuesday.
Is time
in
moving?
a dead period? So we've got to come up with stuff to talk about here.
That was going to be my question. So it is a dead period. So kind of catch us up on the calendar and what that means for recruiting right now.
Yeah. So for everyone who forgot, the first Wednesday in February was signing day. And LSU didn't have any big announcements, anything like that. Everything was done in the early signing period. And I kind of joke about it, Matt, but the reality is there was a time when, the bulk of the class was in the early period, and you had a handful of guys who were signing late. Even more, I think Don McKinley even might have been one of those guys.
Yeah.
You're at zero in February, and that's where a lot of schools were. So the new signing day is 100% that early period because it allows you in December, right, to sign your high school class, figure out who's coming back on your team, who's leaving, who's entering the portal, and then what you need out of the portal during that kind of one big window that stretches, 30-plus days. So that's when all the off-season roster management, by and large, in terms of next year's roster happens. And I think LSU handled it pretty well. Signed a really good recruiting class, signed one of the best portal classes, and they used the past month of January to get out on the road and kind of officially turn the page to what is now the 2026 class of recruits. And those are the guys we've talked about, from Blaine Bradford at Catholic High to Lamar Brown at U High, who are 5-stars in Baton Rouge. And all of these guys are part of that rising senior class. So it'll be a deep one in Louisiana. 10 guys already have LSU offers, which they didn't even hit double digits this past cycle, I don't believe, at least in terms of guys who maybe could have committed at the end. I'd have to double check that. But if they did, it wasn't much more than that. So a lot of offers early, and now after that signing day that wasn't a signing day in early February, we are in a month-long dead period before spring practices kick up, and they invite the kids in for that. So that's the rundown of kind of how things work now between December's signing period, a busy January on the road, and then a very quiet February.
Yeah, you're right. A year ago, Don McKinley signed in February, and they were also in on Terry Bussey right until the end, who ultimately picked A&M. If I'm not,
that's right.
That's how that went. So look at me, Shea. How about that pull? Huh?
You want my job?
No, I don't at all. I just listen. I listen when you talk.
Good job.
Hey, there's I noticed this earlier today as well. The story that we talked about last week was Jerylan McCoy, who had been committed to LSU for about a month. He decommitted. Looks like he was going to be Ole Miss. Well, then today, I noticed it on 3 and everywhere that his 5 official visitor lists are out, and it's Ole Miss, not surprisingly, Florida, Texas A&M, Auburn, and LSU. So makes sense of this. The kid was committed, decommitted. Everyone thinks he's going to Ole Miss, but now he's still going to take an official to LSU. What gives?
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. LSU's are obviously got a handful of edge types that they're going to be after in this class, and they didn't slow down after he decommitted nor ahead of when he committed, which lasted about a month, if even that. So I do think that, he's a two-point kid, so I think that Ole Miss is certainly the team you would point to as the one to beat. But if he does end up making 5 visits, of course, LSU would get one. The team he was committed to, not in January, just a few weeks ago. So I don't expect that he winds up at LSU after kind of committing and then decommitting like that, but we'll see how things play out. Look, they've been, whether it's East Texas or Mississippi or kind of into the Gulf Coast, they've done pretty well here recruiting in recent years. Now, Tupelo is a different beast when it comes to getting State or Ole Miss top talent guys they want, but South Mississippi, I think, is kind of where they can really reel in guys, whether it's P.J. Woodland or Tyler Miller or now at Hattiesburg High, Tristan Keys, 5-star number 1 player in the wide receiver in the country. So Mississippi's got talent. I just don't know if they can beat out into kind of mid and North Mississippi for State and Ole Miss with guys. That's tough sledding.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Shea, I'm sure a big part of our conversation throughout this coming recruiting cycle is going to focus on quarterback. Obviously, they didn't take a 2025 quarterback. We know they went out of Van Buren. But that's just got to be a major focus in 2026. You and I have talked a lot about the 27 guys already, how big of a year that is in Louisiana. But where does the focus start to hone in for 2026, Shea?
Joe Sloan had been recruiting all of these guys before, you talk about I've talked to a couple of these guys who said, hey, look, since ninth grade, Joe Sloan was on me, when he got to LSU. So and these guys are about to be seniors. So they've had offers out for a long time. And when Underwood was committed to all these, you sort of forgot about that. Everyone presumed, okay, they're not going to be able to get a top 5 or 10 quarterback the year after Underwood because he is this, number 1 overall 5-star plus prospect that is going to be tough to follow, right? Well, when I was in New Orleans this past weekend, and a handful of guys that have LSU offers were there. And I'll use Jonas Williams for an example. This is a guy out of Illinois. He's the top 10 quarterback. He's committed to Oregon, but a lot of people don't think that sticks, and it's LSU and USC. Southern Cal, Lincoln Riley, and that staff would be the 2 teams he's really looking at, he said, if he were to move on from his Oregon commitment. And he talked about everything from Joe Sloan and that relationship starting in 9th grade to Underwood not going to LSU, which opened the door for this 2026 class of quarterbacks to say, hey, look, they just took a transfer instead of taking a guy like Underwood in that 2025 class and not signing any quarterback. So they see it kind of like the door opened a bit more for them, a little bit wider than maybe it would have been had Underwood stuck with it and signed with LSU and been on campus right now. So Williams is one to watch. I think over in Houston, Keyshawn Henderson's one to watch. He's committed to Houston right now, but he was down there this weekend. He's no doubt one of the top quarterbacks in the country. Diabell, they've been on out forever out of American Heritage, which they've landed guys out of Fort Lauderdale before, but he's committed to Texas right now. It's kind of a theme here. A lot of these guys are committed, so it's going to take a flip. But another I'd watch is Jake Fetty, who's a top 10 quarterback committed to Arizona State out of El Paso. He's skyrocketing up the rankings, and Sloan had offered him a while back. I think that he's one that kind of surges to the top of the kind of watch list moving forward because at this stage, and look, Bo Bentley out of Texas did get an offer, a 4-star, a couple of weeks back from Joe Sloan. But by and large, if they're going to get a big-time quarterback in this class, Matt, it's likely going to mean flipping him from somebody else. So we're on flip watch when it comes to quarterbacks this cycle, just given LSU kind of had to start kind of a little bit later than the others when Underwood left him at the altar, and you turn around and get after 2026. And a lot of these guys were already committed to schools.
What's the other option, Shea?
I think they're going to wind up actually probably getting a high end. I'd be very surprised if a top 10 quarterback didn't sign with LSU this class. I just think that's where they're at right now. There's nothing that's stopping it. I don't think Van Buren coming in as a guy who's already played a year is a big hurdle for anyone. Obviously, Nussmeier's in his final year. We've already seen Ricky Collins there in the portal. You just don't know how the quarterback depth will look. So I think that someone's going to jump on this. Look, they're putting out the things that Joe Burrow and now Jaden Daniels have done for quarterbacks, and let alone been knowing, guys like Malik and Brian Thomas are just down there growing on trees that every few years they spit out these top 10 picks and 20 picks. That's what these quarterbacks have said. That's exactly what I'm looking for, somewhere where I can succeed and play at a high level, and you're in the SEC, and you've got all the weapons on offense. And they saw they just signed number 1 running back in Harlan Berry, 2 top 10 running backs. So this is an offense, I think, that has the attention of a lot of quarterbacks. Just now that Underwood's out of the picture, guys are starting to kind of really move forward and say, look, I'm a bit more interested than I had been before.
And obviously you talked about the receivers. 2026 is a massive receiver year for Louisiana as well. It goes without saying, Shea, when you have to sell what LSU does with Jefferson and Chase and now Malik and Brian Thomas and prior to that Art Jarvis and Odell and just all the receivers, this 26 feels like it could be the next receiver crop like that. Reed, is that it's obviously a little ambitious, but it feels like it's one of those kinds of years.
No, absolutely. It is. And we'll hear more and more names surface of and kind of who's really the elite, end up in the SEC type guys that LSU will take a hard look at. And I think we're going to be back to those classes where 5, 6 plus wide receivers in Louisiana, people look at and say, they've got an offer. That's the guy you would take. And who gets in, we'll see. But right now, just look at the guys they have committed. Ja'Kai Anderson out of McDonough 35, he went for 57 catches for basically 1,000 yards, just short of it, and 14 touchdowns. Then he goes and has 150-something yards and 4 touchdowns on like 15 carries running the football. And then he returns punts and everything else for him. He had 500 yards and 7 touchdowns. So an electric guy, first-team All-State. And then right below him on first-team All-State is their other commitment. This is listed in alphabetical order, but I'm reading it. Kenny Darby, who coming out of Airline led the state in receiving, playing 5A. He had, I think, 100 catches, 1,800 yards, 24 touchdowns, and he's already said, hey, look, I'm shutting it down. I'm not entertaining anything else. I'm trying to be that next LSU great receiver. And Destrehan's got Jabari Mack, a top 100 prospect, who is ranked as one of the top receivers in the country. So just here in Louisiana alone, you've got 3 guys who I think are probably all going to finish as top 10, 15 receivers in the country. And that's exactly what that group of, Hilton and Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors all were like. It was all guys who were considered, high-end, top 20 type guys who come from Louisiana, and the hit rate on them is pretty good coming out of the state, whether they're highly rated or not. We've seen them go on and play in the pros.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger is a dead period, man. Hope you get a little R&R during this time, man. We always appreciate you jumping aboard with us. We'll do it again next week.
Let's do it. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
All right, Shea. Be well. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. No Volkswagen Super Bowl Super Bowl commercial this year. That was a little bummer. But still one of the highest-rated Super Bowl ads ever was The Force, the kid dressed up like Darth Vader, starting the car. Awesome. They love to have fun with their commercials, and quite honestly, driving a Volkswagen is a lot about that. It's a lot about fun. When you go by South Point Volkswagen, they have an old Volkswagen Beetle bus, the punch buggy van, the bus, in the lobby, in the showroom that they've converted into a photo booth. So you kids, you want to hop on in, take photos while you're there, you could do it. That's a big part of Volkswagen. But it's also, of course, the great German engineering, the top-tier safety picks, the great German engineering without the cost, and the cherry on top, manufactured right here in the US of A at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. So you're supporting American jobs as well. It's the best of all worlds. And Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer is South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Okay, y'all, it's After Further Review. Thanks for being here with us. If you haven't heard the news, where you been? The Saints have officially hired Kellen Moore. It is official. He has signed his contract. The Saints have put out the press release. We're waiting on the introductory press conference news and when that will be. But Kellen Moore is the new Saints head coach. We got tons of reaction to that throughout the day. As a matter of fact, in half an hour, David Helman will be here with us, who now works for Fox. Spent a lot of years covering the Dallas Cowboys while Kellen Moore was there for those 4 seasons in Dallas. So we'll get some perspective on Moore coming in as a player and then as a quarterback's coach and his rise to OC, and then throughout his career, what he's seen the past couple of years as well. So David Helman here in 30 minutes. And Ryan Clark, 1 hour from right now. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. We'll go around the SEC next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. It's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. You know what to do. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. You can always call 888-8888 if you prefer, 888-8888, or you can go to getgordon.com for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Of course, when you go to the website, there's so much info there. If you'd prefer to chat with someone on a website, I think a lot of people in 2025 might prefer that than actually picking up the phone and calling. You can go to the website. There's a little chat button right at the bottom right. When you tap that, boom, you're chatting with an associate there at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys instantly. If you'd prefer to call, you can always do that as well. 888-8888. They got offices all over the state of Louisiana, so it doesn't matter where you are listening to us or watching us in the state of Louisiana. Just call 888-8888 or go to getgordon.com and get connected with one of Gordon's associates near you. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Get Gordon and get it done.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Ownership is one of the most important factors, and it doesn't get discussed because the owners don't like us pointing out that there are bad owners out there. Gail Benson is not a bad owner. Gail Benson is an owner that's going to let her people do what they need to do. She's not going to stir the pot. She's not going to assign a family member the duties to go get the latest version of Madden and let me know what the ratings are so I can tell my people who to draft or who to sign. She's going to stay out of the way.
That's Mike Florio on PFT. What was appealing to Kellen Moore about joining the New Orleans Saints? And he's right, and it does underscore a point that I've said pretty consistently about Gail Benson, which is there's two things primarily that I want from an owner. Like, hire good people and give them the resources to do their job. And number two is get out of the way. What you don't want is a meddling owner. Like, Gail Benson didn't come into fortune because she was a great football executive. Gail Benson came into fortune because she married a rich guy, he died, and left her the fortune. I don't mean to oversimplify it, but it's true. So don't try to run the football team. Hire people that know what they're doing, give them resources, and let them do it, which by and large she's done, except for the fact that whenever they start failing, you have to be able to intervene and say, you're not doing your job, get out. That's what she's not been willing to do so far. And as a result, look at the two franchises. They are arguably, I don't even know if it's arguable, the worst combination of franchises in a professional sports town in the country. I mean, is there another NFL, NBA combo that's worse? I mean, the Washington Wizards are the worst team in the NBA right now. Just barely past New Orleans. But the Washington football team, the Commanders, just went to the NFC Championship game. I mean, it's not a coincidence. These are two poorly run franchises. And that's ultimately Gail Benson having to realize, hey, when your front office isn't doing their job, you got to move on and find people that can do that job. Patience is great to a point. And I'm sure that is one of the things that was appealing for Kellen Moore, because what the job he is taking is a terrible job. Like, the Saints are not appealing. It's not a good job today. It's not a good job today. what is appealing is he gets to be head coach. We'll see the numbers if it comes out, but he'll double or triple his salary, and he'll work for an organization that has been historically patient. So it's not like you come in, you win 2 games, year 1, they're going to fire you. That's just saying how it goes in New Orleans. I mean, Dennis Allen got into year 3, and I think if we're all being honest with each other, if the Saints didn't choke away the game against the Eagles in week 3, or the Falcons game, remember where they lost despite not giving up an offensive touchdown to Atlanta, Dennis Allen's probably still the coach. I mean, think about it. They don't go on a 7-game losing streak. And she had to twist Mickey Loomis's arm at that point to force Dennis Allen out. That all the reports were. So, I mean, even Dennis Allen probably still would have hung around longer. But it's what it is. So there is an appeal there. The patience to a point. Because your patience at some point has to run out and you have to be willing to act. And so far, Gail Benson has not been shown a willingness to do that with the front office. Does she get to that point? We'll see. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Remember, drink Evamore, EVAMOR, evamore.com. A better form of hydration, a healthier alternative. You see the ads. Dak is a national endorser. Cloth and Nuss, the Olympic sand volleyball players from LSU, are Evamore athletes as well. High-level athletes drink Evamore. And if you just want a better option for your family, do your research. Understand why natural artesian water is better. It's a better form of hydration. It's healthier for you and your family. Not all water, not all bottled water is the same. Find out more. EVAMOR, evamore.com. You can find the store locator at the website to find where you can buy Evamore near you, or you can just buy it online in bulk, evamore.com. EVAMOR, evamore.com. All right, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Auburn Tigers.
This is weird. Auburn defensive coordinator DJ Durkin got an extension and a pay raise. They nearly doubled his salary, gave him a contract of $2.5 million per year through 2027. Durkin's been a longtime defensive coordinator, just finished his first season at Auburn. Jim Knowles is the highest paid defensive coordinator in the country, $3.1 million. So this makes Durkin the second highest paid defensive coordinator in America.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Of course, we learned last week that Alabama brought Ryan Grubb back as the offensive coordinator. That means they had to shuffle seats on the bus a little bit here. So Nick Sheridan, who was co-OC last year, has sort of been demoted. He'll be the quarterback's coach for 2025. Sheridan oversaw the offense and play calling a year ago. Alabama was 42nd in the country in total offense. Of course, now you move Jalen Milroe out. Means Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, and Keelan Russell are the 3 quarterbacks for Grubb to work with, and Sheridan as our quarterback's coach.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Mark Pope revealed a injury update on Jackson Robinson, the injured guard, as Kentucky set to play number 5 Tennessee on Tuesday night. Robinson is expected to miss the game for the Wildcats tonight against Tennessee. He was injured in Friday's practice ahead of the win against South Carolina. He was a game-time decision, but ultimately played. He's expected to miss the game tonight against Tennessee.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia guard Tyron Lawrence has been ruled out for the Texas A&M game. Lawrence left Saturday's loss against Mississippi State with an apparent leg injury. He did not return. Lawrence has played in 24 games this season with 20 starts, averaging 8 points, 3 boards, and 2.5 assists per game.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
And Tony Vitello has announced Tennessee's starting rotation for opening weekend. Ole Miss transfer lefty Liam Doyle will start the season opener on Friday for the defending national champs. Junior righty Marcus Phillips will go Saturday in Game 2. Did not announce a starter, the old TBD for Sunday. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. It's after further review. Our Tuesday shows all throughout the year are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Of course, John Deere, zero-turn mowers, gators, as we're moving toward the springtime. You can go shop there. And, of course, if you need to get your equipment serviced, you can always do it at a local Sunshine. Go to sunequip.com. Bunky and below, you want a Deere, you want Sunshine, sunequip.com. All right, y'all, we'll knock out our final break here of hour number 1. When we come back, more devastating news for the New Orleans Pelicans, but I actually think it's a net positive that we'll talk about coming up here in just a smidge. And on 17 minutes, David Helman will be with us of Fox Sports. Spent long time covering the Dallas Cowboys, including the 4 years that Kellen Moore was there as the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach prior. So we'll ask David Helman his impressions of Kellen Moore and what the New Orleans Saints have in their new head coach. We'll get to that next on AFR.
AFR.
Y'all get on by and see our friends at Clegg's Nursery, any of the 4 locations. What an awesome time. I know it's rainy today, but we're going to get a little bit of a cold snap next week. I'm not sure if y'all have looked ahead to the forecast. So it's the perfect time to plant those rose bushes, those shrubs, those trees, those citrus trees. Like, this is the time to just plant something. Like, I'm looking ahead to next week. Like, next Monday, the high is 57, the low is 37. So we're going to start getting some colder temps as well next week. So make sure you get in the garden this weekend and just plant something. Get those shrubs and trees in the ground. You want some of those colorful bedding plants or flowers for your patio pots or your flower beds? Get by Clegg's Nursery. You want any of that spring decor? They got that as well, from wind chimes and garden flags and doormats and bird feeders. They've got everything, one place, Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Just look at her face. She ain't a fooling me. She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Yo, heads up, all the Houston Tigers. Mañana, that's tomorrow. AFR live from Tom's Watch Bar in Houston, Texas, just a few blocks from the Toyota Center. So we've got a great relationship with the LSU Alumni Association. A big shout out to Joe. Sally, Lauren, Tracy, all of our friends over at the Alumni Association for many, 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 many years. And they are having tomorrow it's LSU Alumni Night at the Toyota Center. So the Rockets are playing the Suns. I get it. We're a Pels affiliate here, and I'm a Pels fan. I'm not a fan of either of these teams, the Rockets or the Suns. But I know that our station, our shows here, have a massive footprint in Texas. Dallas and Houston are the two biggest alumni bases for LSU outside of the state. And we have an opportunity to partner with the Alumni Association and go be part of these events. And I'm pretty excited to do it. So they invited us to tag along. We're going to do it. So I will be doing the show tomorrow in Houston, again, at Tom's Watch Bar. It's, Paulie, I thought we had the address on here. Anyway, it's, did we put the address on there? Yeah, I don't know which one this is. Anyway, it's a Tom's Watch Bar, downtown Houston, just a few blocks from the Toyota Center, 3 to 6. The Alumni Association will be out there. So come join us for AFR. If you're in Houston or know someone who's going to be there, and if you want to, you can hang out for the game as well. If you buy tickets to the game and you use the code LSU Alum, ALUM, LSU ALUM, you get pregame shoot-around access at 5:45. There'll be networking in the arena. Game tips off at 7:30. We'll be at the game as well. So I'll do the show, then walk over to the arena. So we're looking forward to it. But just spread the word. If you're in Houston or know an LSU fan or someone who listens to the show who lives in Houston, come hang out with us 3 to 6 tomorrow, Tom's Watch Bar, downtown Houston, for AFR, and then the Rockets game after. Rockets and Suns. We'll look forward to it. All right, it's after further review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Speaking of, I did mention that I am a Pels fan, regrettably. Oh, moly. Holy moly. Bad gets worse. Injury to insult and all that sort of stuff. David Griffin met with reporters on Tuesday and confirmed that they are expected. Well, go ahead. Here it is. Here's Griff.
So Herb actually is going to, well, he already has sought an additional opinion. I think he's probably going to be shut down for the season here soon, and we'll have more information as it goes along once he's evaluated there.
So that's one of those things where I wonder how much of that is Herb really can't go, or how much of that is the season's a total loss, so just shut everybody down now, don't risk further injury, and unintentionally tank, which kind of is where it feels like they're headed right now. The New Orleans Pelicans are 12-41. They are the worst team in the Western Conference. The only team in the NBA with a worst record is Washington. And I don't know, man. Like, I hate to do this, but we may have to break out the ping pong balls again soon. Do you have the ping pong balls handy? It's been a minute and a half.
I think it's in my folder. Let me check.
All right. If you're not familiar, the only way for some time on this show that I ever was justified in talking about this franchise because they were so bad was, like, I couldn't sit here and break down games, right, because they were terrible. And so we just sort of kind of like cheering, quote unquote, for losses as wins because it was adding ping pong balls to the hopper. So we had a ping pong ball sound effect, and that was the whole thing. It was like, we're playing for ping pong balls. And I'll be damned if they didn't land Zion. And we had Father Alello on the show, and the night of the draft lottery, he came on and we prayed and they won. It was amazing, the whole thing. And we haven't had to do that in 5 years because in some way they've been relevant. There's been disappointment with Zion's injuries, no doubt, but they teased us a little bit, about winning the play-in a couple of years ago. But man, this has just been this year has been probably the lowest point as a Pelicans fan, which is a mouthful because there have been some lows. I mean, when you're basically just, skimming the bottom of the ocean to begin with, I mean, it feels like we are now just full on like spelunking into the Earth's core as far as how low we could possibly go as a fan base. Your big offseason acquisition, DeJounte Murray, breaks his hand in the first game of the season and now is out with a ruptured Achilles. Murray, Ingram, and Zion don't play
Murray,
a single.
present.
I was wondering if you were going to get it. You missed one. I think you owe me one too.
Murray, present.
Didn't play a single game together this year. Now you've traded, You've traded Brandon Ingram and Herb. Yeah, obviously, DeJounte Murray's out for the season.
Murray, present.
I mean, are we doing it or no? Like, we going to do that? Or
I'm looking for your ping pong balls, too.
Well,
right
that's
now.
okay. I'm just asking. Are we doing the...
Yeah, we're doing it.
Okay. All that to say, like, you're terrible. And shutting down Herb now for the year, I think is an indicator of what they're looking to do, which is get home with the worst possible record, the highest possible probability of winning this draft lottery, because you know there was a golden goose here in Cooper Flagg. It's one of those years where there is a true, no doubt, slam dunk number one pick in the draft, like when you got Anthony Davis, like when you got Zion Williamson. Now, those haven't worked out for you, in a net situation, but if you need the thing that could inject life back into the organization, sell me on DeJounte Murray, Zion Williamson, Cooper Flagg, healthy Herb, Trey, CJ. Now you got me at least with some hope again. Nothing they do the rest of the season is going to give you any type of hope for anything. Keep losing. Hope the ping pong balls go your way in the lottery. There it is. Feels like a different sound effect. Is that the one we've always used?
No, I had to go find a new one.
Yeah, I could tell. Because that was like multiple ping pong balls.
Oh, yeah.
The other one was just like one ball that was being volleyed, like a click, clink, click, clink.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little one ball volley.
This is literally a guy dropping 4 ping pong balls and then recording it.
I could tell it was multiple ping pong balls. I'm with it, though. I'm with it. Hour 2 next.
AFR.
Thinking of buying land? Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. For more than 100 years, our friends at First South Farm Credit have specialized in one thing, helping Louisianians buy land. I also love telling you about the patronage refund, which, again, they do every single year. The patronage refund this past year paid out $25.5 million to their borrowers. Effectively, they share their profits with you, their member borrowers, which effectively lowers your cost of borrowing. So let's say your rate is 5%. It's actually like paying 4% when they're paying out and sharing in those profits. It's First South Farm Credit. They've been through everything. They've been through everything you can imagine in more than a century. So if you need to buy land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthland.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. This has been a pretty good past few days for Kellen Moore. On Sunday, he won his first Super Bowl as the Eagles' offensive coordinator, and today he was officially hired as the new head coach of the Saints. New Orleans enters this offseason some $60 million over the salary cap, and that's just one issue for Moore to deal with, explains ESPN's Jeff Saturday.
Well, I think he's a good fit, but I think this is a tough job. I don't care who took the job, right? They're well over the cap. They got cap issues. They have aging veteran issues. You could consider their quarterback situation kind of in flux as well with Derek Carr, and does Kellen Moore want that? So you're going to want to move forward. So there's a lot there.
Philadelphia officials say they are expecting 1 million people in the city on Friday for a parade honoring the Super Bowl champion Eagles. NBA recently acquired Brandon Ingram, agreed to a 3-year, $120 million extension with the Raptors, reports ESPN's Shams Charania and Bobby Marks, so that keeps him out of free agency this summer. Baseball lefty Clayton Kershaw at the Dodgers facility today. He and the team agreed on a new contract pending a physical. This will be his 18th season in Los Angeles.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Wednesday, the great Mel Kiper Jr. joins us at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and I'll ask him if there's a quarterback in the draft this year that could have the same impact as Jalen Hurts. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's rock! Go!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. RC in 30 minutes from right now. Saints have a new coach. They've hired Kellen Moore. It is official. We've known it for a couple of weeks now, but the Saints did, in fact, make it official with a press release on Tuesday. So now the process of Moore assembling a staff and building the roster and Mickey Loomis fixing the cap and all that stuff begins. And for us, it's a lot of discovery. What do we know about the new Saints head coach? Well, when his playing days as a Dallas Cowboy ended in 2017, the next year he joined that staff in 2018 as the quarterback's coach. He spent 5 years in Dallas. During those 5 years, our buddy David Helman covered Kellen Moore and the Dallas Cowboys, now with Fox Sports, covering the NFL and Dallas. David's good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Hey, man, good to see you, Nola, even briefly last week, man. Thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm good, man. Yeah, it was good to see y'all. What's going on?
Well, Saints hired a coach, so that's always interesting when this stuff happens in the NFL. You got to see a lot of Kellen Moore over his 5 years as a coach, and then prior to that, the 3 seasons as a player. Summarize Kellen Moore's time in Dallas.
better than it got credit for, I would think, is how I would explain it. Which, full transparency. I mean, when he was in Dallas, I got accused of being a little bit of a Kellen Moore stan, I guess.
Okay.
But I've thought the guy was a good coach for his entire career. I mean, he retired from playing. He stepped right in as Cowboys quarterbacks coach. He was offensive coordinator shortly after that. He replaced Scott Linehan. And when Dak Prescott was healthy, the Cowboys were a top 5 offense for his entire tenure there. I mean, you could count on them to be top 5, top 10 in the important metrics. They were incredibly efficient. They were incredibly high scoring. I think Cowboy fans got frustrated because obviously the team hasn't had the postseason success, and they laid some stinkers in the playoffs. That's for damn sure. I don't think you put that all on Kellen Moore. I also think people accuse him of getting a little bit too cute. He likes a trick play now and then, and he likes to show things off. I think I'm not trying to compare them, but I think there are some similarities between him and Ben Johnson. Kellen Moore never got as much clout for being willing to break out the trick plays as Ben Johnson, but that's definitely part of his bag. And then when he left Dallas, the whole narrative was that he was unwilling to run the ball. He aired it out too much. Mike McCarthy wanted to get back to playing ground and pound physical football, which is why I think it's really funny that Kellen just won a Super Bowl running the most run-heavy offense in the NFL. Clearly, I think he's a lot more adaptable than he got a lot of credit for. So that's my spiel. I think I love him. I love him as a guy, Kellen. If you're listening, I don't think you're a dork, but he looks a little dorky. He looks young. He doesn't look like a leader of men from a distance, and I think that's where a lot of the criticism comes from. Honestly, is he doesn't look like an inspiring football coach, but the mind is there. The results are there. I mean, on top of just winning a Super Bowl with an elite offense, he's really been doing it most of the time that he's been calling an NFL offense.
Is he respected by the players?
Absolutely he is. And again, I don't think that the Saints just hired the Dan Campbell guy. Obviously, I think you're talking about a more cerebral type of football coach. I think the respect and the leadership comes from consistent on-field results. I don't think and to be clear, I guess I don't know this for sure. I've never been in a meeting room with Kellen, but I doubt Kellen is giving these very inspiring motivational speeches and some of that type of stuff. But the results speak for themselves. Dak Prescott loved him. He was only in Philly for a year, so I don't know how deep the bonds are with the Eagles. But again, you coach and call an offense that wins 10 games in a row, gets you to the Super Bowl, maximizes all of those big talents, AJ and Devontae, and obviously Saquon Barkley had a record-setting year. If you can keep all of those guys happy long enough to win a Super Bowl, I think it speaks to your qualifications. So even if he's not the most inspiring personality in the NFL, I think players respect the results that he gets.
He's on Twitter at David Helman _1L in Helman, by the way. Give him a follow. Fox Sports covered the Cowboys. How many years were you in Dallas before you moved full-time, like big picture Fox?
I was with the Cowboys for a full 10. Yeah,
okay.
A decade.
So the whole time that Moore was there as a player and as a coach, you were there the whole time. Well, I guess not. Maybe the beginning of his time as a player.
Well, no, because he started in Detroit actually.
Right.
He was, So from the time he came over, I was there.
15.
I was there for his entire time in Dallas. I was there when they brought him on because Scott Linehan loved him. He followed Linehan over from Detroit. He was a player for a couple years. I was standing 20 feet away when Kellen broke his ankle in practice in training camp, which is what opened the door for Dak Prescott. So I'm pretty intimately familiar with his time in the NFL.
Yeah, 2015 was Kellen's first year as a player there in Dallas. Of course, that's when Dak jumped over after that. So I'm glad you brought up that Dak. I think you said Dak loves him. The 3 quarterbacks as an OC he's worked with are all dramatically different. Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, and then Jalen Hurts. David, share with me an observation, like when you hear that, what should, if anything, we make we make of that, of the different styles of quarterbacks that Kellen Moore's worked with, and the style of quarterback he was as a player.
Well, I kind of touched on it, but I think, and look, I mean, obviously the Saints have so many challenges in front of them. We don't know for sure who their quarterback is, or, you know, their cap situation is a nightmare. I'm not trying to sell you on hope that this is going to be good quickly, but I think you should be encouraged that Kellen Moore is, you know, this is not the old school idea of like the coach that's going to come in and fit everything to the way he likes to do it, because Kellen Moore has had to adapt to a lot of different things. You know, he was when it was Dallas, it was, you know, he was putting Dak back there and letting Dak read it out, and he's got these, you know, ties to Scott Linehan, which is very Air Coryell related, where, you know, you're just winging the ball around. And then you get to Philadelphia, where, again, it's not to knock Jalen Hurts, but it's just a much different way of playing offense, where Jalen is twice the runner that Dak is, and you obviously have this incredibly physical running game. So to adapt yourself to the skill of your quarterback, I mean, I think that is the number one mark of a good coach, is adapting yourself to what you have instead of trying to make everything fit your system. So I don't have the numbers in front of me. I know when Dak was healthy, they were a top 5 offense, something like 4 out of 6 years. Chargers was a little bit of a downturn, but I mean, I think that was just a disaster organization wide. I don't really put that on Kellen Moore. And then again, you get there with a very mobile quarterback and this fantastic offensive line, and you kind of reinvent yourself into a smash mouth football team that can also be very explosive. And I think that's another thing I would say is Kellen Moore loves explosive football. You know, I mean, you saw him throwing the ball downfield up 30 points in a Super Bowl the other night. He's not afraid to do that. And if anything, you know, his critics are probably going to say he gets too cute, because he does like explosive football. He's looking and hunting for big plays. So, you know, I think the track record speaks for itself, and I think it's encouraging that he's proven he can do it with a variety of different skill sets.
I got a couple more for you, by the way. 6 years as a coordinator, their finish in total offense, 6th, 17th, that was 2020, 1st, 3rd, 21st the year in LA, and then this year 8th in Philadelphia. So 4 top 8 finishes. Then the 1 year in LA, they were 21st, and then the COVID year, they were 17th. So, yeah, a pretty good track record.
And I would point out, too, that, man, Kellen really should pay me for this, but one of the years that they were kind of mid was a year where they lost Dak in week 5. And, you know, they finished middle of the pack on offense despite starting backup quarterbacks, you know, 10 or 11 out of those games.
Oh, yeah. Cooper Rush. We're a big Cooper Rush show here, David. I'll fill you in on that later, another time. How much of the offense in Dallas was Mike McCarthy? How much of it was Kellen Moore?
That's one of those things. I don't think you can truly know the answer to that, unless you're part of those meetings, unless you're truly on the inside of that. What I will say, I mean, Kellen had play calling autonomy for the first 2 years, or was it the first? I mean, he had play calling autonomy the whole time he was here with Mike. I lost track of how many years it was, and then that was what led to his exit in 2022. Was that Mike wanted play calling autonomy back. Mike wanted to have the final say and the design of the offense. And like I said, Mike he ruffled a lot of feathers. I think his exact quote was, Kellen wants to light up the scoreboard and I want to run the damn ball, which, like I said, it's ironic because I would agree with that general assessment of Kellen Moore. You know, he's a former quarterback. He likes to wing the ball around the yard, but you put him on a team with a mobile quarterback and an all-pro running back, and they had something like 80 more rushing attempts than anybody else in the NFL this year. So even if that is what he would prefer to do, he's not so stubborn that he can't accept the personnel that he has. So, you know, I guess what I would say is that Kellen had enough say that it frustrated Mike McCarthy enough that Kellen was ultimately let go, or you know, they mutually parted ways, however you want to phrase it.
Okay, last thing, and your time very much appreciated. He's going to have to hire a staff. How much confidence should the Saints have in his ability to identify and hire a good staff?
You know, I've said all this nice stuff about Kellen. I'm not trying to say that I don't think he can do it. I just don't know. You know, he's never been in this situation. And again, that's like if being a head coach was only about drawing up an offense, I would be sky high on Kellen Moore. I think the things that give you pause are he's a young guy. So how good is his network? How good is his eye for developing talent? Because he's never really had to do this before. Not to say like he didn't work hard or anything, but he was fast tracked. You know, he was an offensive coordinator his second or third year ever being a coach. He didn't climb through the college ranks or start as a quality control coach. And, you know, Ben Johnson spent a decade on NFL staffs and in different buildings before he ever got his shot. Kellen has been in a few different buildings, but only as a play caller and as a high level coach. So how good is his network? How good is his eye? I'm curious to see, you know, I would guess he's going to try to bring Doug Nussmeier along with him, which is very interesting given that Doug is Garrett's father. So that's a fun little parallel in Louisiana. So, yeah, how good is your network? How good is your eye? Is he going to dig into the college ranks? Is he going to be looking for young up-and-coming coaches? Or, as a younger guy who hasn't done this a whole lot, is he going to be looking to surround himself with veterans who have been doing this for a couple of decades? I would guess probably a balance of both. That's why I think Doug Nussmeier would be an incredible resource for him as a guy who has done this for a long time at a lot of different levels. I don't know how good of a job he's going to do, but between his own coaching experience and the time that he's been in the game and obviously what he did at Boise State, I think that he's going to have a pretty good network of options available to him.
Great perspective. David Helman, Fox Sports. Thanks for making time, man. We appreciate it.
Anytime, bud. Talk to you later.
I'm in. Be well. Get him on Twitter at DavidHellman_1L. DavidHellman_ LSU Tiger. All right, it's after further review. RC in 15 minutes. RC just texted me. He's going through TSA and lost his ID. So I shouldn't laugh. But so we'll try to connect here with RC in 15 minutes. RC is going to be emceeing the Rain Will Bring Flowers event at the Maravich Center tomorrow. We'll talk about that. Of course, I'll get RC's perspective here on the Super Bowl and Kellen Moore and all that stuff. Let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, we have a better sense report today from Jeff Duncan about when the city of New Orleans will make its next bid for a Super Bowl, and TV ratings are starting to trickle in. We'll share that with you next at AFR.
After further review.
Our friends over at Action Industries, 42, now going on 43 years, and continuing to innovate. Of course, when I tell you about Action Industries, I also want to always remind you about the Advanced Turnaround Group. This is a different pool of resources. It's the same company at Action Industries with workers who are proficient in turnaround work. There are turnaround managers. There are turnaround coordinators. It's a totally different pool of resources. And remember, when you call Action, you call the Advanced Turnaround Group, they have 24-hour availability for emergencies. They have specialty welding. You get your personalized attention because they're a company that will focus on your job. The mega contractors are great for enormous jobs, but if you have that 100-person job, are you really their number one priority? At Action Industries, you are. It's people's whose entire career are centered around turnaround work. It's the Advanced Turnaround Group at Action Industries. Learn more online, Action Industries, proud partner of LSU Athletics.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environment.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, big shout out to Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Hey, another reminder, I'll keep reminding you throughout the day today, we are in Houston tomorrow. The LSU Alumni Association is having a LSU night at the Rockets game for Rockets and Suns. We got all the info on our social medias. You can check it out there. But we will be doing AFR live from Tom's Watch Bar downtown, just steps from the Toyota Center. So very much looking forward to that. AFR 3 to 6 from Tom's Watch Bar tomorrow. If you're in Houston, know someone who is, come by, have a beer, get some food, say hello. Love to see you. AFR tomorrow, Wednesday from Tom's Watch Bar. Don't worry, I'm going to get up early Thursday. Go to the game, go to bed, get up early Thursday, drive back, and I'll be back here for AFR on Thursday. But looking forward to being in Houston tomorrow. All right, it's after further review. We do have numbers in for viewership numbers for Super Bowl 59. And not surprisingly, set another record, 126 million viewers. This is the projected average audience for Super Bowl 59 across Fox, Fox Deportes, Tubi, Telemundo, NFL digital properties. So all viewers, all platforms, 126 million, up from 125 million a year ago. That is a new record high viewership for the Super Bowl. The peak audience, 135.7 million. That was with about 8. That was in the second quarter. Then we know what happened late in the second quarter where the Eagles scored, got the turnover, scored again. It was 24-0 at half, and everybody was like, deuces, I'm out. Record high streaming viewership via Tubi and NFL digital properties. 14.5 million people streamed the Super Bowl for free. 13.6 million of that on Tubi alone. So you continue to give people ways to consume your product, which is why, take note of Major League Baseball, this is why you're stupid. When you actively prevent people from watching your product, it's harder for them to watch your product. Give them ways to watch your product. Oh, they'll find it. Anyway. And also, by the way, where is it? I saw this. Oh, I thought I had this. I did have it. I don't know where it is now. The halftime show did really well also. I think I'm looking for it. I don't see it. I had it on a note somewhere. But anyway, Kendrick Lamar's halftime show was, I believe, the most viewed halftime show ever as well. I don't get it. Didn't make sense to me. I didn't like it. Wasn't really for me, but whatever. A lot of people clearly did. It did really well. Do you have it?
Yeah, this is from, looks like NFL.com.
Super Bowl halftime show, Kendrick Lamar, 133.5 million average, most watched Super Bowl halftime on record, and a 3% increase from Usher last year.
It's awesome. I mean, it's if the objective was get younger, you succeeded. Like, you have the people that, like me, that are going to watch no matter what, because it's a Super Bowl, it's the halftime show, and a lot of us are like that. But you were able to bring in a younger audience, no doubt, with Kendrick Lamar. So if that was the NFL's mission, clearly they succeeded to that end. So a giant success all the way around. And, I mean, we look at that selfishly through the prism of New Orleans, because we all want to see New Orleans host again. So when the city and the Super Bowl is such a giant smashing success, then, yeah, man, like, you go have that type of success. The venue does what it does. There were a lot of things. Like there was the Taylor Swift element of it. There was the Donald Trump element of it the first time ever. Is that not wild, too? That I would have never thought that's the first time ever that a sitting president would have gone to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's not uncommon for sitting presidents to go to sporting events, World Series. I feel like, I don't know, tennis matches and stuff. I don't know. Like, that you struck me as odd.
No, it did. It struck me as odd as well. And I think tennis matches check out. Yeah, that sounds about.
I don't know, man. I'm just throwing stuff
serious.
out. Like golf. Now I'm trying to think at the top of my head. But there was the movie with Bagger Vance, right? Wasn't not Bagger Vance. It was it the greatest game ever played?
Francis We Met? Francis We Met?
Yeah.
The amateur to win the U.S. Open? Yeah.
Was that the greatest game ever played?
That's the greatest game ever played.
Wasn't there the scene where, like, the president, was it Taft or somebody like that? Remember there's a scene in the movie.
President for sure.
No, I know. It's when presidents had long beards.
There you go.
Whenever, like, when he zones in and he birdies like 6 straight, then he comes out, he looks over and the president's like standing there watching him.
No pressure. Right?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Then he duffs one or whatever. So I'm sure there's been a president that's gone to like a golf event, a golf or match or something. Were you looking that up or were you?
I was, but it sounded like you were moving on. So
I was filling while you hammered away. What president was watching Francis We Met? Siri, what president was watching Francis We Met at the U.S. Open?
Okay, I found this on the web for what president was
1913.
watching Francis We Met at the U.S. Open.
Doesn't say. Siri, you suck. Siri, who was the president in 1913? Since Muse is no help me at all, I'll just do it all live on air.
Okay, I found this on the web for now.
Go away.
See, look at that. That's what you get. Yeah.
Well, that's because you were talking through it.
I wasn't. You talked through it.
Look, I wouldn't have to if you would do your job and look it up.
Got the Super Bowl halftime thing pretty quick.
So Jeff Duncan, in the Times pick, reported that 2031 is the primary target for the next time that the city of New Orleans would host. The next 3 are spoken for: Santa Clara, back in L.A., and then Atlanta. So then 2031, so that's 29 and 2030 there's conflicts for New Orleans. This doesn't say what the conflicts are. I would assume that's Mardi Gras. I don't know, but I'm assuming that would be a Mardi Gras conflict in 29 and 30. So 2031, in 6 years, would be the next time that New Orleans would target to host a Super Bowl, according to Jeff Duncan. Here's hoping they get it. Hopefully it's not that long, but might as well be. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration. Got a call yesterday morning, actually a text yesterday morning from a friend of mine, works over at Brock, said, man, woke up after the weekend. They realized that they had a refrigerator leak, water everywhere. Hey, does Parish Restoration do this sort of thing? Absolutely. Called, checked in today, said everyone was wonderful, getting set up to get that thing cleaned out, cleared out, back to tip-top and ship shape. Parish Restoration. Remember, if you have mold thing, you got water intrusion, you need to clean all that stuff up. Parish Restoration. Go to parishbuilt.com, same website, parishbuilt.com, one site. Just hit the restoration tab, parishbuilt.com. And if you need all those remediation services, of course, they'll come spray the patented non-toxic dry fog treatment, kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens. You need sanitization services during cold and flu season. My God, my wife works at a school. It's like hundreds of people out with the flu. You need to go sanitize, easy. Call Parish. They'll come in. They'll fog the whole thing, in and out. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. More efficient, more cost-effective. It's Parish Restoration. Go to parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Hit the restoration tab. All right, it's After Further Review. All right, RC is going to join us coming up after the break. RC is going to be emceeing. God never stops, man. But he'll be back in town. He'll be emceeing the Rain Will Bring Flowers event at the Maravich Center tomorrow. So we'll talk about that with RC, and I'll get his thoughts on the Saints hiring Kellen Moore, Super Bowl 59, all that good stuff as well. If you want to get your thoughts in, I have no guests in hour number 3, at least not as of now. So if you want to get your thoughts in on the Kellen Moore hire, great opportunity to do it. Email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. We get a lot of your interaction in as well coming up in hour 3. Stick around. It's AFR.
After further review.
Go read the reviews. Go read the reviews. Go to Google and read the reviews for River City's 1 Hour Air. I always encourage you to do it. Not everybody does. Not everybody encourages you to read the reviews because I'm not sure what you're going to find. But at River City's 1 Hour Air, when you go read the reviews, you'll find more than double the amount of 5-star reviews of the next closest competitor. Like Chavez Ford posted this one. Cody was very professional, friendly, and thorough in explaining all the issues with my AC. Took the time to make sure I understood everything and provided excellent service. This one from Destiny Antoine. Very knowledgeable. Thank you very much for sending Cody. He's a great technician to be a part of your team. David is very knowledgeable as well. He too is a great technician to have on your team. Another 5-star Google review. I can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Because their experiences are just like mine. Call River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She says she's got a dream and I ask what it is. She wants a little farm and a yard full of...
Dying to know Ryan Clark's frequent flyer miles during this football season. RC made it through TSA, and he's good enough to join us. How are you, man?
Hey, man, you never know, Long as clear works and they don't ask for your license, you end up okay.
Wait, hold on. Wait. So what happened? Like you lost it? You got it? We good?
Well, yeah, so while I got in, my license is at home. I didn't know what the way they were going to check bags or whatever it was with the Super Bowl. And, I knew the president was coming. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to take my license and a credit card and stick them in my pocket. Well, I didn't get home till Monday, but I had to leave Monday night. And I didn't take that actual shirt with me. So the pants, so my ID and my credit card was still in my pocket.
Oh,
But I was already at the airport. And then you just got to get it how you live, like the hot boys.
Wait, so were they just like, oh, you're famous, go ahead?
No, so I have Clear, right? And
Oh,
when Clear is done the right way, you don't need to show your ID. But for some reason, when I did my update, it put like semicolons and smiley emojis or something behind it. So it's a mismatch. So normally they always ask for my ID, but they let me through.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. RC's gonna wait. So where are you now?
Hold on one second.
Yeah, no, you're good. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yep.
I'm sorry. I'm ordering a protein bowl here. And they don't know how to make it, and so they're asking me questions. It's just a lot, man. A lot going on.
No apologies at all. So where are you now?
So I'm in New Jersey because I had to shoot inside the NFL today.
Oh, man.
Which I normally shoot on Wednesday, but because I told them, because I'm hosting this panel tomorrow, I had to make everybody come in a day early, which everybody was fine with, but hence me being in the airport so I can come home so I can do this thing tomorrow.
Sure. The thing tomorrow is Planting Seeds of Hope for the Rain Will Bring Flowers Foundation. I want to talk plenty about this and why you got involved, but I am curious because we haven't had a chance to talk much this year because you've been on the go. Can you walk me through what a regular travel week was like for you during football season?
I think it all depends on the Monday Night Football game and where that was. So normally, we'll start on Sunday. So on Sunday, I fly to the city the game is in. So let's say the Chargers play. So Sunday, I'm in LA. I'll shoot. We'll do Monday Night Countdown at the stadium. If I'm in LA, I can catch a red eye. So I'd catch a red eye to wherever the pivot would try to shoot on Tuesday. So let's say a lot of times we try to do it around New York because I had to be there Tuesday night. So I come to, say, Jersey on Tuesday, shoot there Tuesday and Wednesday, like in New York, shoot Wednesday in New Jersey, come home so I can be home for a day. I'd be at home Thursday and Friday. I'd shoot ESPN from my house on Friday. On Friday, me and Yank would leave and go to wherever Jordan was playing. So let's say South Bend. So we fly into Chicago, get there like 12, drive to South Bend, get to South Bend like 2:30, go to the game. Then I'd leave on Sunday and be back at the place Monday Night Countdown was.
I mean, you have a very, very long, well-deserved nap ahead of you at some point, man. Business at hand, though, and it's a good thing that you're coming home to host this event, which is an awesome thing. Tell us how you got involved with Planting Seeds of Hope.
So Shelly Mullinex is putting it together. She's now, an executive at LSU, but when I was there, she was one of the head athletic trainers. And she was always big into trying to get us help mentally, emotionally, us talking to sports psychiatrists or therapists. That was where I was sort of first introduced. And so, she's truly the biggest cog in Planting Seeds of Hope. And, she just watched the pivot. She was obviously, at the school when Nachelle Menard committed suicide. Someone I played Little League Baseball with, went to high school with. He was one of my hosts, someone I spent the day with on the day that he shot himself. And, she heard me tell that story. And obviously, you watch the show, just some of the things we've done in the mental health space, some of the conversations that we had. And she asked, did I want to be involved? Would I sort of be a part of leading the conversation? And obviously, anytime you can be amongst, impressionable or people who are looking for this sort of information or need this sort of help, I think if you can give back to the community in that way, you do it. So I did everything I possibly could to be there.
Yeah, for those that aren't familiar, the Tabors lost their 15-year-old son, who's a high school student and committed suicide, and as a result, they launched the foundation, Rain Will Bring Flowers, to bring awareness to mental health and things like this. So this panel is being sponsored by the Joe Burrow Foundation's involved, the L Club, Our Lady of Lake Health. So a lot of people coming together, and RC will be there. RC, I'm asking DJ Chark's going to be there as well. Do you know?
Yeah, DJ Chark is going to be there. One of the main speakers, this young lady, Emma, it's an inspirational story right there, Dutchtown area, committed suicide while in high school. Seemingly should be one of the happiest young ladies in the world, popular in social clubs, dance team cheerleader, all of these things. And her family didn't even know she was struggling with these things, didn't even know she was having suicidal thoughts. And, through her experiences, through actually living through attempted suicide, she's now decided to make it her life's mission to help, even if it's just one person, by telling her story. So, she's truly inspirational as well. We'll have doctors there that have worked with her. DJ Chark, who has had some emotional and mental battles himself, will be there to share his story. So I think overall it'll be a great panel and opportunity to learn. We'll lead a conversation on the stage as well as take questions and, any inquiries from the crowd as well.
Event's totally free. It's at 6 o'clock at the Maravich Center. Tomorrow, Wednesday, it's Planting Seeds of Hope. RC is going to host it, featuring, as you heard I mention, Emma Benoit, DJ Chark, and others. Again, 6 o'clock at the Maravich Center. Totally free tomorrow, Wednesday, so get out there if you can. Hey, RC, before you go, man, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least get a thought on Kellen Moore. The Saints got that done today. It's official.
Yeah.
Just thought on the Saints hiring Kellen Moore?
Doesn't it feel like Kellen Moore's name has been in sort of these hiring processes for the last 5 years?
You know better than me, man.
It wasn't it? But, we've had conversations at points when he was in Dallas about him succeeding or just literally taking the position away from Mike McCarthy. He's interviewed for countless head coaching jobs. And listen, I'm smart enough to know nothing makes you a good coach like great players. And, having Saquon Barkley, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Hurts, and the best offensive line in football can make you a pretty smart coach. Mm-hmm. And, he went to Philadelphia, did an amazing job. There were also years, where Dallas was the number one, scoring offense in the league, even though some of that was due to the turnovers they caused. And I think Kellen Moore, for a little bit was kind of like boy wonder. So it seems almost overdue for him to get a head coaching job. But I think Saints fans, the organization, has to be realistic of where this roster is, Matt, where the cap space is, where some of these contracts are for players who, are a little long in the tooth. And so I think it's going to take some patience in order for him to turn this thing around.
Yeah, they stink.
I was trying to.
Yeah, no,
I was trying to say it in a better way.
I respect the effort. I'm just gonna be way more blunt. They stink, and they have got to be patient.
They're not very good.
They got to be patient with him, man, because it's gonna be a climb. RC, safe travels, man. Planting Seeds of Hope, hosted by Ryan Clark.
I have a question, man.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Are our Tigers going to be good? Are all of these portal guys going to change what they are?
RC, the thing that you just said to me, flip it. You can't, it doesn't matter how good of a coach you are. You got to have players.
Yeah.
I mean, RC, the way that I'd say it flatly is if they don't make the playoff next year, and you never know, because the draw matters, right? I mean, look at Oregon.
Yeah,
Oregon was great this year. They drew the short straw.
They drew the best team.
It sucks. I mean, it sucks for them, but it happens. So how you advance, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But if they're not in the 12-team playoff next year,
right,
the whole conversation about Brian Kelly completely changes because he won't have had a better roster ever than what he's going to have next year. So what do you do with it?
And I will say this, and I know we probably have to go.
No, you're good. You're good.
I watched a team in Notre Dame that I would say shouldn't have a better roster than LSU. Not that they didn't, because it was a good team, but they fought, they executed, they turned the ball over, they played smart, they played physical, and so there's something to having the people, and I think Notre Dame had the people, but it's also something to how you actually coach, execute on game day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's a little piece of both. And being in that environment and looking at some of those young men, and like, don't get me wrong, some of them, I wish LSU had them, but I don't see where LSU shouldn't be able to recruit on that level, especially just get people in the school in a way that's very difficult at Notre Dame. So I am really interested in seeing how these portal guys sort of blend together, because you can have the Ohio State experience where you keep all of your best players and then you gain all of these good players and they click at the right time. And you can also have some of the experiences these other teams have where there's no cohesiveness between the team, if you're not talking about the top tier of the top tier of portal guys. And so I'm really interested in seeing what Brian Kelly does, because to me, this is the most pivotal year in his tenure at LSU for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, RC, even Ohio State, like, they lost 2 games.
Yes.
They lost to a very mid Michigan team.
Absolutely.
I mean, it
and an ugly loss too.
Yeah.
It was ugly.
Yeah.
It looked bad.
So like, a lot of it is getting in and playing your best at the right time, but you've got to be good enough over the 12 games to get there. And my point is, like, that's something that you have enough talent, you should be able to control. Like, if you're not there, if you don't have a ticket to the dance next year, that is a big problem, man, because you have got a loaded deck on this roster.
Hey, especially when it's 12 of them.
Yeah.
4 is different.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Look, I mean, RC, Georgia was undefeated the year before, loses the SEC championship game, and they're out of a 4-team playoff.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I mean, Florida State went 13-0 and got left out. You know what I mean? Like, 12. Yeah, dude, you better be in a 12-team playoff next year. Like, if you're not, it's a 4-alarm fire, dog. Like, no. Yeah.
Well,
enjoy.
Whether
ahead.
they get it or not, I look forward to listening to you talk about it.
Enjoy your protein bowl, RC.
I will.
Safe flight. We always appreciate you, man. We'll visit soon.
All right, have a great day. Yes, sir.
All right, that is RC. Again, he'll be hosting Planting Seeds of Hope, part of the Rain Will Bring Flowers Foundation. It's tomorrow at the Maravich Center, 6 o'clock, totally free. I don't want to say this if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure they're providing dinner. I think like the Joe Burrow Foundation is providing food for everyone that comes. I think it's Cane's. God, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn because I don't have that on fan. But anyway, all the info's there. You can get it online, but get on by if you can tomorrow. Let someone, especially parents, talk to your kids. The Tabors story is one that should shake every parent to their core. Their son was 15, thought no inclination that there was anything wrong. And then he takes his life. It's a beautiful thing that they have done as a family, taking their grief and turning it into a positive for other people. So take that lesson. Parents, like, talk to your kids. And if you need help, if you're struggling, get to this event tomorrow or reach out to someone who can get you the help you need. Just know that no matter what you're dealing with in life, you are loved. You are loved. You have a God that loves you, and I love you too, even though you may not always like me, because sometimes I yell things that you don't like, but I love you. I really do. So get to the event tomorrow if you can. All right, let's not get a break. Musaloo Tigers and the Pros next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel, 2 amazing hotel properties. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. The Renaissance, beautiful, sprawling hotel, Renaissance Baton Rouge, right there on Bluebonnet, across from the Mall of Louisiana and Perkins Row. You walk in, and what you will notice immediately is that, if you don't know this, every single Renaissance, no matter where you go in the country or the world, every Renaissance is designed uniquely to that market. So you go into Renaissance Baton Rouge. The sculpture behind the welcome desk is a 2-scale model of the Mississippi River and all its tributaries. You look at the carpet on the ground, and the pattern is different crab traps. You'll notice some of the sculptures on the walls. it's symbolic of pelican eggs hatching. You start to notice it. You go into the rooms, the guest rooms. It's like a Cajun dictionary wallpaper. Anyway, it's awesome. It's gorgeous. 13,000 square foot of meeting space. It's Renaissance Baton Rouge.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and...
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
Wrapping up hour 2. Always appreciate Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana, sunnyquip.com. Title sponsor of our Tuesday shows all throughout the year. Okay, tons of your reaction in hour 3 to the Kellen Moore hiring right now, though. Mute. So, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
Big guy.
BetOnline has released their odds. They're way too early odds for 2025 NFL MVP Joe Burrow, the Tiger, I should say the former Tiger, that has the best chance, third best odds overall at 6-1. Jaden Daniels not far behind, coming in at 9-1. That is at the same odds as Patrick Mahomes, mind you, that Jaden Daniels carries. But there's a few more Tigers with longer odds. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, both at 100-1. And then how about this? Brian Thomas Jr., 500-1 to win NFL MVP in 2005. It's going to be a quarterback, but congrats to those guys on being included anyway. Naz Reid, a night ago, another start for the Timberwolves. Not flashy, but stuffed the stat sheet nonetheless. 10 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. The 4 assists actually led the Timberwolves team. They got absolutely destroyed by the Cavaliers.
Should have stayed.
Should have. Trendon Watford, 20 minutes off the bench, shot 50% from the floor a night ago. That was really, really efficient. Plus 26, actually, on his entire night. 13 points, 4 assists for him. And then we'll wrap it up here with Javonte Smart, of course, in the G League, playing for the Osceola Magic. Another start for him as well. That's about 4 or 5 in a row for Javonte. 6 of 14, so just under 50%. 18 points, though. Third highest total on his team. 5 boards and 5 assists. That is Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Thinking of buying tires? Name brand tires at wholesale prices. You go where you're going to get the best price on the best tires. That's at Shawbills. Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Firestone. The best tires on the road for the cheapest price possible. Why would you go anywhere else? Valentine's Day coming up on Friday. You want to, I like this. They put like a little, on Facebook, they put a little like a card, a little Valentine's card. Make our heart race. Shawbills. Since 1968, ShawBillsTire.com. Ask about the Shawbills credit card. Of course, VIP pricing and 0% for 6 months. ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, we keep you rolling. Okay, y'all. It is after further review as we wrap up hour number 2 here. Been a busy show. If you missed Shea Dixon here in hour 1, David Helman, who spent 10 years covering the Dallas Cowboys, was there the entire time that Kellen Moore was there as a player and as a coach. Quarterback's coach, OC, gave us some great perspective on Kellen Moore earlier this hour. If you missed anything, you can get it on demand. AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. You can just go search AFR Saints on podcast or YouTube. And then, of course, AFR LSU podcast YouTube if you want LSU or Saints content. With the whole show, just search After Further Review. You'll see it all right there, always for free. And then RC just a bit ago. Glad to have him here with us. Shea was here in hour 1. All right. We're going to get tons of your reaction. And one of the big talking points about Kellen Moore now that he's been hired is staff. There are some names that are already starting to trickle out on both sides of the ball that could very well be targets for Kellen Moore's staff. We're talking about that right after SportsCenter.
AFR.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore is now the new head coach of the Saints. He just capped off his lone season as Phillies OC by earning his first Super Bowl ring. He's the first head coach to come from outside the Saints organization since Sean Payton stepped away after the 2021 season. Meanwhile, Eagles coach Nick Sirianni will be hiring his third offensive coordinator the past 3 years, former NFL quarterback Matt Castle. Matt Castle on Joe and Q. NBA, ESPN's Shams Charania and Bobby Marks are reporting the Raptors and the recently acquired Brandon Ingram agreed to a 3-year, $120 million extension, so this keeps him out of free agency this summer. Shams is also reporting the Lakers, with a need at center after the Mark Williams trade was rescinded, are signing free agent center Alex Len. He was originally going to sign with Indiana, but decided to opt for L.A. instead. He provides L.A. with additional depth for a thin front line.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's rock! Go!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tom play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. Lot to do here in hour number 3. The New Orleans Saints have their head coach. It's Kellen Moore. By now, you probably know that. Saints made it official on Tuesday via press release. And I think my thoughts on Kellen Moore are similar to what a lot of you probably think about Kellen Moore. There's a lot of excitement there. Guy was just the offensive coordinator for the Super Bowl champion, a top 10 offense in every category except passing. 8th in total, 7th in scoring, 2nd in rushing. and then 29th in passing. It's just how they were able to win. But it's a little exciting because of the many different ways we've seen Kellen Moore's offenses go. In Dallas, they were very pass-heavy with Dak Prescott and those receivers. Obviously, you had Justin Herbert in L.A. a year ago with the Chargers, and then this year really riding Saquon Barkley in a run-heavy offense. So the ability to be multiple, but being a good play caller, a successful play caller, isn't the only thing you need to be a good head coach. Mike McDaniel in Miami is a good play caller. When they've been healthy and Tua has been healthy and they've had Tyreek and that thing going, they've been a fun, exciting offense. It's not been a great head coach. A big part of that is also culture and staff. I think Kellen Moore is going to be fine when it comes to culture. And I'm looking at a guy that as a quarterback was 50-3. He became the first, and I get it, it's Boise State. It's a G5 school in the Mountain West. I get it. Dude still won 50 games. I don't care if it's G5, Pop Warner, D3, JUCO, don't matter. 50-3, you're a winner. Dude is a winner. I like that a lot. So I'm not so worried about Kellen Moore's ability to create culture. I do a little bit wonder about his age. At 36, right? We know the story. He played against Derek Carr when Kellen Moore was at Boise and Carr was at Fresno. Everybody knows that story by now. But you got a dude at linebacker in DeMario Davis who's as old as the head coach. I mean, these dudes like DeMario and Cam Jordan, these are your team leaders, but are they going to fall in line? I would assume they will. I mean, they got the C on their jersey. But it is something worth asking, right? But I think, I don't know, none of us knows. But I think they'll be fine as far as culture. The other big question is, can he hire a staff? Can he identify good coaches and put them in positions so that this team can succeed? Because one of the things that I love about having a guy that controls one side of the ball is you never have to worry about that side of the ball if he's doing his job. Right? It's always the concern. Like the question in Detroit this year. You hire Dan Campbell. Campbell's not a coordinator. He's a culture guy, and he hired two really good assistants in Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Knocked it out of the park. Okay, in 1 year, both of those guys are gone. Now what? It's a giant question. It's like in New Orleans when Sean Payton was here, it didn't matter if your OC left. As long as you had Payton, you had the guy who had the keys to the car offensively. But he had to hit defensively. And he did it with Dennis Allen. And he did it with Greg Williams. And not so much with Steve Spagnuolo and Rob Ryan, right? And even though you had Peyton and Breeze, when you missed on the DC, you had good offenses, but boy, did your defenses struggle and you were sub 500. So can Kellen Moore hire good assistants? That's going to be a gigantic question. And Ian Rappaport was on the Insiders on the NFL Network, gave a couple of names to watch early on in this process for assistants that could be joining Kellen Moore in New Orleans.
As far as his staff goes, Doug Nussmeier is his quarterback's coach in Philadelphia. I know would be considered a strong candidate to have a big role on the offensive staff, perhaps offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints. They got to go through the process there. The defensive coordinator should be a little more open, but I do know that Brandon Staley, former Chargers head coach who came up as a really strong, kind of a hotshot defensive coordinator candidate, he's going to get a long look there. And, you know, I know people will say, like, well, do they have time? Like, can they hire a good staff? Everyone, like, the people who are on his staff probably have some idea that they'll be there. They're waiting. The Saints are going to be fine with Kellen Moore as their head coach.
And the Saints are going to give Kellen Moore time and money to build a staff like he needs to. So if you have someone that wants to elevate, there's a great opportunity there. Now, Staley's interesting because this year he was the assistant head coach with the 49ers after he got fired by LA with the Chargers. So assistant head coach, but not a coordinator on either side of the ball. The 49ers just hired Robert Saleh back as their defensive coordinator. So, yeah, it would make sense that Staley might want to go be a coordinator again. So does he join Kellen Moore? Oddly, it would just be a role reversal. It was Staley in LA as the head coach who hired Moore as his OC. In this instance, it would be Moore as the head coach hiring Staley as his DC. But Staley has a long he's still a relatively young guy at 42 years old. As old as me. Relatively young. It's a relatively young guy. Relative to Kellen Moore, he's older. Kellen Moore's 36. But this is a guy who coached in college and then made his way into the NFL in 2017. Outside linebackers with the Bears for 2 years. Outside linebackers with the Broncos for a year. DC with the Rams in 2020. After 1 year as DC with the Rams, became the head coach of the Chargers. And he was the Chargers head coach for 3 years. And had some early success. They just had some end-game gaffes where they just choked away one-score games. 9-8 his first year, 10-7 his second year, then 5-9, and he was fired in L.A. But I like the idea of getting a coach that has head coaching experience on staff that might be able to help with some of those things that come along with being a head coach that Kellen Moore hasn't experienced. So, yes, I like going and getting a more experienced veteran coach, even at 42 years old. But Staley's been a head coach in the NFL, which helps to have that experience on staff. Doug Nussmeier is the other guy that he mentioned there, that Rappaport mentioned. Nussmeier, this is one that, listen, for a very obvious local tie, that makes a lot of sense. His son Garrett is the quarterback, at LSU. Bringing Doug closer to Garrett would make a lot of sense. Doug has ties to the organization. As we know, he came into the NFL when he was drafted by the Saints back in 1994. He was with the Saints from 94 to 97. Became a coach in 2001 in the CFL with the BC Lions. He was with Ottawa. And he has made his way through the ranks, both college and pro. From Michigan State to the Rams, to Fresno State, to Washington, to Alabama, to Michigan, to Florida, then to the Dallas Cowboys, then to the Chargers for a year. Chargers for a year with Kellen Moore, and then to the Eagles. So Kellen Moore, and by the way, was with Dallas earlier. So Doug Nussmeier and Kellen Moore overlapped. When Kellen Moore was the OC in Dallas, Doug Nussmeier was the quarterback's coach. So they overlapped in Dallas. They overlapped with the Chargers in 2023, and then this year in Philly. So every year since 2018, Doug Nussmeier and Kellen Moore have been on the same staff. You have some great synergy there with those two guys, and obviously Doug Nussmeier played quarterback in the NFL as a respected coach at every level he's been. I would love that hire if it's Doug Nussmeier. The other name that we've heard so far is one more Eagles assistant whose name is Kevin Patullo. So we had this up earlier today at LouisianaSports.net if you want to go read about it. But Jeremy Fowler from ESPN was the first to report it. It said Kevin Patullo is a name to file away. Patullo was the associate head coach and pass game coordinator with the Eagles this year and could very well be a name that Kellen Moore is interested in bringing to New Orleans, but also could be the guy that Nick Sirianni promotes internally to be the OC in Philly with Kellen Moore leaving for New Orleans. Another guy who's a young guy. He's 43, so he's a year older than Brandon Staley, but he's been in the NFL since 2007. 1 year was an exception. In 2017, he coached 1 year as a defensive analyst with Texas A&M, but every other year since 2007, he's been in the NFL. The last 3 seasons with the Colts, the last 4 with the Eagles. He'd also been with the Chiefs, Bills, Titans, and Jets. So he's been around the league. That's another NFL seasoned coach that's still a relatively young guy who could join Kellen Moore's staff. So some of the names worth keeping an eye on as Kellen Moore now starts to build his staff. And, I think that's going to be the big question for Kellen Moore is build your staff, build the culture, and even more important than that, start to get this roster back in shape where you can compete. The big question is how much of that is going to be Kellen Moore, how much of that is going to be Mickey Loomis, how much of that is going to be the two in tandem. When Sean Payton was the coach, he was intimately involved in all those decisions about personnel. You get the sense that maybe that wasn't the case with Dennis Allen. What's it going to be like with Kellen Moore? We'll start to find out in short order. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We're always brought to you by our friends over at Supper Club, supperclubbtr.com. Y'all, they're open right now. Tuesday at 5:13 in the afternoon. You're knocking off of work. You don't want to go home? Awesome. Go to Supper Club. Moscona, don't have a reservation. It's okay. Open seating at the bar. You could pop on in right now, go sit at the bar, have a cocktail, a glass of wine, maybe have dinner at the bar, meet some coworkers, clients there at Supper Club. Great spot. Maybe get lucky. Maybe there's a table there in the bar area. You can get lucky and grab a table tonight. But, of course, you got Valentine's this weekend there. Book Solid Friday for Valentine's Day. If you want to try to sneak in there Thursday or Saturday, might have a reservation, sneak through, get on the list over at Supper Club, supperclubbtr.com. If you got a special event coming up, Valentine's Day, birthday, graduation, any type anniversary, any type of special event, the best place to celebrate is a place where you can get a meal like you can't get anywhere else in the state of Louisiana or the United States of America. Supper Club right there on Perkins Road. Get your reservations today at supperclubbtr.com, supperclubbtr.com. All right, let me knock out a quick break. Come back. Made a lot of reaction today to the Kellen Moore hiring. We'll let you hear some of that from former players, coaches, analysts, and I want to hear from you as well. So if you want to get a thought in on Moore, email us, tweet us, or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400, or you can always jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat as well on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Quick break. We'll continue on AFR.
AFR.
All right, y'all, Super Bowl 59 in the rearview mirror. Carnival season staring you straight in the face. It is time to get by Rouse's and get those king cakes, man. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. You want to ship a king cake anywhere in the lower 48? Rouse's can do it for you. Go to the website. You'll see the tab right there with the king cake. Just click that tab on the flipper right there on the homepage. You click that tab on the flipper. Super easy. You could ship. You can order your king cake and have it shipped anywhere in the country. So if you got a family member, like my sister moved to Kansas a few years back, want to give her a taste of Carnival, I could ship her a king cake there. Maybe it's a client who is in a different part of the country. You want to surprise them with a little taste of Carnival this Carnival season. You could ship that Rouse's king cake anywhere in the lower 48. Just go to Rouse's.com, pick the king cake. You do it all right there online. Easy. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. And y'all, it is boiled crawfish time at Rouse's.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Designing an offense that best fits your quarterback situation. What Kellen Moore did great this year was change up his whole offensive strategy around the personnel he had with the Eagles. Now, they had great personnel, so it may have been a little easier, but that's why he's a good candidate for the New Orleans Saints, to change the offense and make sure it implements the best version for the personnel he has.
Yeah. Andrew Hawkins on SportsCenter on what makes Kellen Moore a good fit for New Orleans. And I will, I'll co-sign. You look at the 3 stops where he's called plays, you've had 3 very different quarterbacks. 5 years as a play caller, or 4 years as a play caller in Dallas with Dak Prescott. You had a veteran quarterback who's more of a pocket passer with some mobility. You go out to L.A. with Justin Herbert. You got the big, strong arm pocket presence in Herbert. Then you go out to Philadelphia, and while you've got the tantalizing weapons with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, and then, of course, Dallas Goedert, you've got Saquon, and you turn around and hand the ball to the tune of a 2,000-yard season. So, yes, being able to pivot. What we don't know about how Kellen Moore's offense in New Orleans is going to look is who's going to play quarterback. Now, y'all know where I stand on this. I am ready to cut bait with Derek Carr. I was ready to cut bait with Derek Carr before last season. I did not want them to restructure Derek Carr last year. And I understand why they had to, for cap compliance and all that stuff, but I was ready to take the nosedive last year. Not everybody was, and clearly the organization wasn't. A lot of us could foresee this happening because Derek Carr has, as I've said for 2 years now, a decade-long sample size of telling us exactly what he is and what he isn't. And what he isn't is a championship quarterback. So you're never going to win anything of significance with Derek Carr. You want to run it back with Derek Carr and win 7-8 games next year? You can do that. I don't want them to do that. But I do think it's going to be interesting to see what they choose to do. And there's 2 paths. It's this divergent path. You can bring Derek Carr back, get healthier, and have a chance to do what I just said. Improve from a 5-win team to maybe a 7-8 win team in year 1 under Kellen Moore. But next year is going to be Derek Carr's last year in New Orleans, if you bring him back. He won't be your quarterback past 2025. So then what do you do? Do you try to find a free agent again? Are you sold on Spencer Rattler? You're picking in the middle of the draft, middle of round 1. Are you going to find your franchise in the middle of round 1? Do you trade up? It's just a whole different question of what you do. I think the benefit of a place like New Orleans with patient ownership is you can go nosedive year 1. But when Kellen Moore came and sat with Gail Benson and with Mickey Loomis, and they had this conversation, what your vision is, if that has to have been part of what was discussed, to say, listen, I don't think we're going to win with Derek Carr. I'm willing to go into year 1 understanding Spencer Rattler, Jay Kaner, whoever it's going to be, some other veteran where we have a much lower ceiling, but that's going to put us in position moving forward to win. I've given you this example now. We've had this conversation a dozen times. It's what Cincinnati did when they brought in Zach Taylor. Andy Dalton's gone. They nosedive year 1. They draft Joe Burrow. Now, we can argue about Zach Taylor and his efficiency with Burrow, but the plan worked. They got their franchise quarterback. They ate it for a year. They got their franchise quarterback in Joe Burrow. They went from 2 wins to 4 wins to the Super Bowl. So it worked. Now, they haven't cleared the final hurdle yet, And we can have those, like they can have those conversations in Cincinnati. I don't particularly care, but I mean I do for Joe Burrow, but not from a Bengals lens. That's what I would like to see the Saints do. There's no guarantee you hit on the quarterback. The quarterback could end up being Zach Wilson. It could end up being Mitchell Trubisky. Or it could end up being Jaden Daniels. But you won't know until you draft him. That's what I'm ready to see him do. I just don't know that they're going to do it. Tons of reaction coming in today. Jeff Saturday was on ESPN and explained why he feels Kellen Moore is a good fit for the New Orleans Saints.
Well, I think he's a good fit, but I think this is a tough job. I don't care who took the job, right? They're well over the cap. They have aging veteran issues. You could consider their quarterback situation kind of in flux as well with Derek Carr, and does Kellen Moore want that? So you're going to want to move forward. So there's a lot there. I'm hoping it's a long-term offer with a lot of patience because it's going to take. The one good thing you could say, though, Christine, they're in a division where they can compete, right? You got the Falcons, you got Tampa, who's obviously won the past few years, but you can compete in this division. And so hopefully Kellen Moore, that'll be a good fit for him.
That was Jeff Saturday. A wrap around the NFL today. Tons of reaction coming in. Charles Davis was on CBS Sports HQ, and he likes the hire for the New Orleans Saints bringing in Kellen Moore.
We went away from our
AFR on. That's not it.
I love the pick. New Orleans is a good franchise. Mickey Loomis is the general manager. They have great stability there. They have a defense that you can build off of. Cam Jordan may be getting a little bit older, but if he chooses to come back, he's a great building block for what you're doing with him and Demario Davis, Alontae Taylor in the secondary. They're always good on defense. Offense, it can use some tweaking, but I think Derek Carr as a quarterback will respond very well to Kellen Moore as an offensive coordinator. I think personalities, philosophies, how Kellen Moore goes about coaching. I think Derek Carr can rise up again and fulfill that promise that he always gives us because he is a good quarterback. But Kellen Moore, I think he'll be better.
Is Charles Davis gaslighting us all? Charles Davis is trying to convince us that Mickey Loomis is a good GM and Derek Carr is a good quarterback. I can't wait to hear this one. Charles Davis was asked what the Saints' ceiling was in year one under Kellen Moore. Let's hear this.
The ceiling, obviously, the cap space is an issue, right? So that's something Mickey Loomis is going to have to work on. And he's a good general manager. He's really a lot better than probably his reputation because Mickey isn't in the
created
news
the
very
cap
often.
issue.
He just does the job, and he does it quite well. So we'll have to work on that part. But what division do they play in, Jacqueline? The NFC South. That South is competitive, and Tampa Bay's won it the last 3 years. But have they gotten to 10 wins in any of those years to win the division? The division is up for grabs all the time. So if you're asking ceiling, they can take dead aim at their division in year one.
I mean, I don't wholeheartedly disagree with that because, I mean, look, mathematically, the Saints weren't eliminated this year to the end of December. I mean, like, they had a shot until the final 3 play-in dates, despite a 7-game losing streak. So I don't wholeheartedly disagree with that. But this continues to be my question. And I ask you today the same question I asked you the day the New Orleans Saints signed Derek Carr. What do you want to be? What do you want to be? Do you want to be a team that hovers around 8 or 9 wins, just good enough to win a bad division, make the playoffs and lose? Or do you want to be a contender? It's the same thing I've said about Derek Carr since the day they signed him. Like, literally. I've been repeating myself for 2 years. And if nothing else, you got to compliment me for my consistency because I ain't moved off this spot. I've been standing here for 2 years. We know what Derek Carr is. Lower ceiling, higher floor. Derek Carr's your quarterback. You're not going to bottom out and go 2-15. But you're not going 13-4 as the 1 seed, making it to a Super Bowl. That's never happening with Derek Carr. So what do you want to be? You want to be just good enough to win a bad division and get bounced? I don't. I want to be good enough to watch my team win a championship again. And as you're currently constructed, that's not going to happen. I'm optimistic about Kellen Moore being a bright enough, young, offensive-minded coach that hopefully you hit on that can be that next Shanahan or McVay, the young offensive-minded coach that's ready to take the reins of his own organization and lead it for the next decade. I would love to see that happen under Kellen Moore. But you got to have players. And Derek Carr is not that player. He may be the quarterback for the Saints in 2025. I hope he's not. And yes, if Derek Carr is the quarterback in 2025, you got a shot to get to 8-9 wins, maybe, if you're healthy and all that sort of stuff. Could you win a bad division? Sure, you could. You could. But where are you really? You're no closer to winning a championship than if you were to acknowledge what you are today and reset. There's one more from Jeff Saturday, who was asked about his top priority this offseason, Kellen Moore's top priority this offseason in New Orleans.
Oh, I think an addition in wide receiver. Hawk loves this. Giving him a good one. With somebody to help Chris Olave, got to have that happen. And then also flip it over to the defensive line. I mean, with Cam Jordan and even at linebacker with David, they have to find some youth over on this side and get guys back in this. But I would start with receiver and helping whichever quarterback you go with, and then obviously on that defensive line side as well.
All right, we're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. Oh, yeah, they do shutters as well. They do it better than anyone else. Remember, when you call Relief Windows, they will never take $1 from you until they're done and you're thrilled. So 0 down payment. Brandon's told me this before. He's had people try to give him a down payment. He won't take it. You will not pay $1 until they're done and you're thrilled. Also, at Relief Windows, a true lifetime transferable warranty. You got like a new company that comes around and tells you they got a lifetime warranty? Yeah, prove it. You've been around for 2 years. You got a lifetime warranty? For Relief Windows, they've shown that and lived that as they've grown for nearly 2 decades now in our market. It's Relief Windows. Windows are a commodity. Lots of people can sell you windows, doors, and siding. That's why Brandon always says their real product is customer satisfaction. It's where they thrive. It's why they win. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Rolling along here through the 5 o'clock hour. Jimmy will be here in about 15 minutes from right now. We'll get auto locks. Auto locks are posted up at LouisianaSports.net if you're interested. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plays tonight in college basketball. And I did hear some of Jimmy's show earlier today. He said the card, it is a feast for college basketball betting tonight if you want to bet on this college basketball card. So 5 plays are up at LouisianaSports.net. Jimmy will be here in 15 minutes as well. All right, let me knock out a break. We'll come back, get some of your reaction. And also, Jay Johnson has announced who's going to be starting where on the left side of the infield as LSU is just a few days away from opening day. We'll get to that as well. It's AFR.
AFR.
Business owners, we know you want to be more profitable. And a big part of that is having the right people. I mean, think about it. If you run your business, think about the lack of efficiency by having the wrong people in the wrong position. You got to be efficient, and it's all about your people. Your business is only as efficient as the people working in and on it. At Glow Resources, that's their specialty. Their corporate headquarters, they're based in Baton Rouge, but they serve businesses all over the country, placing employees in jobs all over the world. It's Glow Resources. So, if you have been struggling to hire, you can't find the right people, or you just can't find people, you need Glow Resources. Check them out online at glowresources.com. GLO, glowresources.com. They are complete employer solutions. Remember, you want to be more efficient. You want to find the right people. You want Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Thanks my tractor sexy. Well, she ain't.
Big shout out to Sunshine. Remember, sunnyquip.com. Zero-turn mowers, gators, they got it. Great time to get that farm equipment serviced as well. Go to sunnyquip.com, sunnyquip.com. Hey, tomorrow, AFR, we will be in Houston at Tom's Watch Bar in downtown Houston. It's LSU Alumni Night at the Toyota Center for the Rockets against the Suns. So we'll be broadcasting with the LSU Alumni Association live from Tom's Watch Bar in downtown Houston tomorrow, and then going over to watch the Rockets and the Suns as well. So I hope to see a lot of you there. If you're in Houston, I know I say it often, but our it's just so interesting in the digital era. We could look at all of our metrics, our heat map, where people watch, and Houston and Dallas are so massive for our radio station and our show. It's the largest LSU alumni bases outside of Louisiana. So we're going to be there tomorrow with the LSU Alumni Association, and happy to be there. I know there's if you're interested in going to the game, by the way, if you go to rockets.com/promo code and use the code LSUAlum, LSUALUM, that's how you can get like the specialty pricing on the tickets. And then there's pregame shoot-around access at 5:45. There's networking in the arena. Tip-off for the games at 7:30. So we'll be there for it. And so let your friends know in the Houston area, LSU fans in the Houston area, AFR tomorrow from Tom's Watch Bar, downtown Houston, 3 to 6. Then we'll head over to Toyota Center and catch the basketball game. Hope to see a lot of y'all there. Help us spread the word. Oh, by the way, the text line is crushing Charles Davis. I mean, they are.
They were dead last in defense last year.
He's a paid analyst.
Yeah.
Why often it's a hard job, because when you're a national person, you have surface level knowledge of everything, but deep knowledge on nothing. It's the opposite here. Like, I have very deep knowledge on the teams I cover, but surface knowledge of everything else. Like yesterday, we were talking about the Luka thing, and I was like, how did Mark Cuban? It was like, oh, I totally forgot. Mark Cuban sold the team. Yeah, well, I don't cover the Mavs. I have not watched Dallas Mavericks play a single game of basketball this year. So, yeah. But Charles Davis going to bat for Mickey Loomis in the defense, that's a rough spot to be with Saints fans.
And Derek Carr. Don't forget Derek Carr.
Derek Carr, yeah. Charlie said, could Kellen Moore bring Doug Nussmeier down as OC? Could they draft Garrett next year? Well, Charlie, we actually led this hour. I understand radio, people in and out of the cars. You don't sit there and listen consecutively for 3 hours. We did talk about that. So Ian Rappaport earlier today did mention 2 names as possible assistants. One of them, Brandon Staley, which has been mentioned quite a bit. as the possible defensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints. And then Doug Nussmeier, who's been on staff with Kellen Moore since 2018 in Dallas. They were on staff in Dallas together. Then Nussmeier was with the Chargers for a year with Kellen Moore, and then was with Moore this year in Philly as well. So that makes a lot of sense with those two guys who've been really bound together for the last 7 years as assistants together at 3 different spots. So it would stand to reason that Kellen Moore would try to hire Doug Nussmeier here. And yes, the proximity to Garrett and everything makes a lot of sense. But could the Saints draft Garrett Nussmeier? Sure, if they're in position to do so. And that is the whole circular dog chasing its tail conversation that I feel like we've been having here for the last month, or really longer. It's about Derek Carr. Next year, I think you have to have a little foresight to realize next year's draft class, the 2026 draft, where you're going to have very likely Arch Manning and Garrett Nussmeier and Nico Iamaleava and Miller Moss and possibly Lenora Sellers. I mean, it's a very projected to be a very deep draft class, whereas this year looks thinner. So you would kind of want to put yourself in position to take that guy in 2026. Well, how do you do that? Well, you move on from Derek Carr this year. You realize you're going to take your lumps. You reset your cap, and then you go after it in 2026. With a reset cap, a young quarterback, your coach in place, and then you can start to build. But I just don't know if they have I don't know if the Saints as an organization, i.e. Mickey Loomis, have the time, the temperament to feel like they're going to do that. One more from Joshua Moran on the text line. You can always text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400. Said, thoughts on Carr as Moore's quarterback. Said, cut Carr after June 1, pick up Justin Fields, take a flyer on a quarterback in round 2 in this draft. Said, I don't see Carr and Moore's meshing, play style meshing well. That's Josh. So, Josh, so I'll disagree with you on their styles meshing. Because I think Derek Carr stylistically is what Kellen Moore wants. He wants to be able to spread it out and sling it around with a guy that they trust to throw the ball. I think that's what Kellen Moore wants to do. I think the impressive thing about Kellen Moore is this year he went to Philly with an offense where even though you had a couple of great receivers in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and a great pass-catching tight end Dallas Goedert, they were 29th in the NFL this year in passing offense. Only 3 teams were finished behind Philadelphia in passing offense this year. And that's because you had Saquon Barkley said, well, I'm just going to hand it off to him a bunch. And it worked. They won the Super Bowl. So I think one of the real impressive things about Kellen Moore as a play caller in Dallas with Dak, in L.A. with Herbert, and in Philly with Hurts is he's had 3 very different quarterbacks, and he's managed to succeed with all 3 of them. Blending and molding his offense around his skill set instead of the other way. So I like that. I think that's a really encouraging way to go about doing it. I want to get back here in just a second to, I mentioned there was a little bit of news from Jay Johnson as he's set to meet with reporters tomorrow, but Jay did an interview with Kendall Rogers and talked about what he's going to do on the left side of the interview. I'll tell you that in 60 seconds. Quick reminder about the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. That's williamsoneye.com. Remember, eye care, eyewear, eye surgery. I got a text from the Williamson Eye Center. I'm sure it was an automated deal just a few days ago. It was reminding me I'm due for my annual eye exam. You should always have your annual eye exam. Just go to williamsoneye.com to schedule, williamsoneye.com. They got locations all over Greater Baton Rouge, from Baton Rouge, Denham, Zachary, Lutcher. So no matter where you are in Greater Baton Rouge, they got a Williamson Eye Center location near you. Have your eye exam. If you wear contacts or glasses, you can update that prescription or buy your contacts and glasses at the Williamson Eye Center. And then, of course, always, if you want to ditch the contacts and glasses forever, there is a refractive procedure for you, no matter your age and your refractive issue. Just go for that consultation. Meet with Dr. Blake Williamson at the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. Jay Johnson did an interview with Kendall Rogers, who Kendall's going to be with us again Thursdays this college baseball season. Excited about that. And said they have made the decision that Stephen Milam's going to play short and Michael Braswell is going to play third. I don't think that that's a surprise. I think that's really what we all anticipated was going to happen this year. But, going into these preseason workouts, Jay was non-committal there, said he was going to try both guys at both spots and see which way that it went. But Milam's on every preseason list at shortstop, and Braswell's on every preseason list at third. And I think we all knew that this was the way it was going to go. But Jay's now confirmed, at least at the start of the season, and provided Milam plays well at short, they'll stick there. I'm going to be so interested to see what they do with the lineup. Of course, who's going to be behind the dish, how they manage that rotation, who's going to play right, how they manage that rotation. And then the batting order. We all know Bear Jones is going to be smack dab right there in the middle in the 3 or the 4 hole, and how they protect him is going to be interesting because, man, when you got Tommy White in there, you have protection for Bear Jones. It was the same we talked about with Tommy White and Dylan Cruz. Your teams could pitch around Dylan Cruz. Okay, we'll pick your poison. You want to pitch around Dylan Cruz to get to Tommy White? Well, that's not always a great thing because the nation's RBI leader is waiting with a guy on base. So if teams try to pitch around Jared Jones this year, who's there to make them pay for doing so? Is it a guy like Dickinson? Where does Derek Curiel land in this lineup? This guy's a 5-tool guy as a freshman. I'm just fascinated by it, man, to see how this all comes together. They have so much talent, and watching how Jay Johnson molds this team together this year is going to be really fun to watch because he's got all the ingredients you need to have a championship team. It's got to come together. Focus on the rotation, but also the order, and then those spots that you still got to find out. Like, it hasn't been apparently super easy behind the dish. Is someone gonna land that job consistently at catcher? Does one of the veterans like Pearson win the right field job, or is it Brown or Larson, one of the sophomores, or is it just a platoon all season? It all gets started on Friday. We start to get those answers. One of the great things about baseball season, man. It's not you lose one game and your season's over. It is a season-long evolution of a team to build your team, to know who's best in what roles, and then to go try to play your best to win a tournament in Omaha over the course of 2 weeks in June. And that's why I love college baseball. It's a lot of fun to watch this thing evolve, and we'll start to see it on Friday. Okay, it's after further review. Let me knock out our final break of the show. Jimmy will be here. We'll do Auto Locks next on AFR.
After further review.
Remember our friends over at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. You can always log on to yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. I know the name's funny. I know the logo's funny. But what we're talking about is serious. And it's one of the reasons that I'm happy to endorse them and passionate about it is because when we're talking about HRT, that's hormone replacement therapy, we're talking about allowing men and women to live their very best lives. If you're a man, as you age, your body, just like my body, like everybody, produces less of the hormones that contribute to how we feel. The things that allow us to be motivated and energized when we get out of bed. The thing that allows us to get to the gym and burn fat and build muscle and feel great and feel energetic and to have libido and vitality and all those things. As we age, we produce less of those hormones. And now we can safely and affordably supplement to get to a healthy level. yourgoodwood.com. Learn more. yourgoodwood.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends March 5th, 2025.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Carnival's almost here. Going to be getting out to a parade. Notice what's pulling all those floats. Nothing runs like a deer. All the power you need to pull hundreds of revelers throwing bags of crap that people just absolutely can't have enough of. Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Auto Locks, hit it.
Auto Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, how are you?
Doing good, Matt. We got a full list today.
Let's
right
go.
All right, start off at the 8 p.m. tip in downtown Omaha, Nebraska. The hottest team against the spread, 11 in a row against the spread. Won and covered again over the weekend against Marquette. They won outright in Connecticut earlier this year. And now it's laying a short number at 3.5. And it's dollar beer night tonight for 8 p.m. Creighton to try and make it 12 straight against the number, minus a short number against two-time defending champions, UConn Huskies. All right, next one's a caveat here. Look, if you got down earlier, this line has completely flipped. Mississippi State, when I gave it to Hunt, was plus 1.5. They're now minus 2.5. This line has flipped completely to the other side, and that's pretty much at every shot now. It's pretty much 2.5 across the board. We did see a little bit of variance for a while, but now it's pretty tight. They're getting ready to tip. If you got on it earlier, fine. I would not suggest getting on it now after a 4-point swing. So I wanted to clarify that one. Staying with Vandy plus 9 against Auburn. Of course, Auburn could be in a feisty mood after their first home loss this year, but looking ahead a little bit to that big game at Tuscaloosa, first 1 versus 2 matchup ever in the SEC. They're looking forward. Of course, ESPN Game Day will be there as well. Auburn and a little bit of a ESPN Game Day sandwich. They hosted Game Day Saturday. They're on the road against Game Day at Tuscaloosa Saturday. Vanderbilt is beating Tennessee, Kentucky, and Texas at home. They should play Auburn tough one in that one. DePaul plus 17.5 against Marquette. Marquette is just not playing that great right now. I'm just never. It's one of kind of a fade team as of late. 17.5 against a much improved DePaul team. Give me DePaul plus 17.5. Okay. 2 more to go. Mountain West. Colorado State had an emotional win in Fort Collins at home against San Diego State. Now they travel to Logan, Utah to take on the Utah State Aggies. Colorado State is terrible on the road. After an emotional win, a short number here. Take Utah State minus, where are they at?
It's at 5.5 right now.
5-5. Again, all single-digit lines, pitching and catching. buy it to the whole point. And then one more tonight. How about this turnaround? The biggest turnaround of the 360 Division I teams. Kansas State had lost 9 of 10. Remember they got housed by LSU at home?
Yep.
It was double digits the whole way. They won 5 in a row, including a 20-point win at Iowa State, at Arizona State, against Kansas. They win again this past weekend against Kansas. Now they're catching 3.5 at home against Arizona. Arizona's hot themselves, but buy it to 4. Kansas State plus the 4 there.
All right. So a 6-pack for the Otter. Creighton, Mississippi State, all the caveat, don't play now because it's at 2.5. You got it earlier at plus 1.5. Good on you. Vandy plus 8.5. Buy it to 9. DePaul plus 17.5. Utah State minus 5.5. Kansas State plus 3.5. Buy it to 4. Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
We are at Los Reyes Mexican Grill on Lee, just off of Nicholson, across from Mike Anderson.
Awesome, man. Good luck tonight. We'll talk tomorrow.
Good luck.
That is Jimmy Ott. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Y'all, Friday's the day. Friday's the day where you're either in the penthouse or the doghouse. Let Lee Michaels help you stay in her good graces. Thrill her with a gift in the red box. They've got amazing gifts at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You can shop them online. You can go into any of their 9 locations. There's even a Valentine's Guide gift tab on the homepage so you can shop all of the great gifts for Valentine's Day. LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com. Just hit that Valentine's tab as it scrolls right across, and you'll see all the Valentine's Day gifts that they have available. You could search by designer, by the featured stone, the metal type, the price, narrow it down. Boom, there's your option. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. All right, it's going to do it for us here. Man, if you missed anything, AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. Tons of Saints Kellen Moore reaction today. Shea Dixon was here in hour 1 as well. Make sure you get all that on demand presented by Brett Golf. Muse, Paulie, thanks. We'll see you tomorrow 3.
After Further Review.
If you weigh or measure something, you already know. Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Get to Michelli.com, But Scone, I live in Utah. Doesn't matter. Michelli's got locations all over the United States of America. Also, you can ship your precision measurement devices to them. They can calibrate them, ship them back to you. Or they can come to you. They got a mobile calibration labs. The Sprinter vans, pass them on the interstate all the time, ripping and running. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Based out of Harahan, more than 75 years, still growing, still locally owned and operated. Our nation's largest distributor of scales. They've got ISO 17025 accreditation. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. For all the different types of services they offer, the types of calibration, or to learn about a career with Michelli, start at their website at Michelli.com. At Michelli, we show the world what measurement can do.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac. Our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.